indifferent. We're drifting in the dark. Can we do better? Wish I could rewind back to the start. Can we do better than this? Better. You got me high, then drop me low. You got there's something I can seem to let go. You got me high, then drop me low. You got there's something I can seem to let go.
Hello and welcome everyone back to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is round 4 here at the Bahrain International Circuit. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's up, Tanner?
What's going on, Craig? Another wonderful day, another wonderful track. Like, wow, Bahrain pulled this one out and I love the way it flows.
Yeah, absolutely. Super fun track. Let's take a look at today's line map. So start of the course at the left-hand side of the screen. And leaving that chicane with a little flick entry is what is wanted, with a very small off-throttle area allowing for those lead drivers later to check up there if needed and into clip 1. So it's 5 turns, 5 outside zones. Starting with clip 1, it's a big outside zone. Carry it all the way through and transition across the track for clip 2, your next outside zone. You stay out there for a while and then you leave it and transition up back across the track once more with another small off throttle area there heading into outside zone 3, clip 3. But that one has a big wall ride that you got to stick to the whole way around and then transition once more back across the track for clip 4, smallest zone of the track there. Sort of a manji through that very narrow part of the course and then transitioning once more for your big decel there. We want drivers to be super smooth with their decel through that area and carry as much speed as they can through there. And getting back on throttle once they get into that last and final outside zone, carrying that outside line across the finish line and finishing the course. We're here with Group 1. I believe it's 5 groups of qualifying today, so around 50 drivers, I believe, showing up here for qualifying. They're getting their last little bit of practice runs in now before we send them on their way. If you're just now joining us, we'll go through our qualifying rules. Drivers are given 2 non-consecutive judge laps to qualify. Highest score counts. Tiebreakers are determined by the lower qualifying score, and each qualifying run is judged on line, angle, and impact. Line, of course, is that ideal path that we just took a look at on that line map, and then the angle is the amount of angle that that car carries throughout the course and how smooth they are with it. And then impact is that extra little pizzazz on that run that, you know, the drivers can maybe get a couple of extra points from. And each judge will score the entire run with a maximum of 100 points, and scores from those 3 judges will be averaged after each run to give the final score maximum of 100 points. So I believe we have our first driver at the line and ready to go. We sure do. Darius Ostrika, or is this Martinez? I believe this is Martinez. That's right, he's ready to go. And we don't have sound from Martinez, unfortunately, but he's going to enter that car in. Aceto doing Aceto things. He's going to transition across that track, and he's looking good on the line here. We'll talk through it anyway. Nice transition once more across. So they are allowed to use just a little bit of that rumble strip if needed, headed into clip 3. But look at there, all the way out there, even dropping just a tiny little bit of tire. Allowed to use the rumble strip there. Overall, fantastic run there from Ostrika.
Yeah, Darius. We're so used to seeing Darius's name there. Martinez's first run out, really kind of setting the standard here for Group 1, coming in with an 89 at the top of the list. So now we'll move on to Christian Petrov, suffering in practice with a bit of a gas pedal problem, but it seems he's got it sorted out. So let's see what he can do on his first run of qualifying. Hopefully, no gas pedal issues. The lights go on, off he goes for his first run of qualifying. Christian Petrov heads down, initiates in. Good initiation. Could have filled the zone a little more at the very beginning, but makes the transition work. Not dropping a tire for outer zone 2. Makes the next transition to the wall ride. Nice and smoothly done. He pulls out of it, transitions across the track. Last outer zone to go, right on the rumble strips, right towards the wall. Looks like that gas pedal's working pretty good.
Yeah, nicely done from Christian Petrov. Absolutely. Let's see what that score is going to look like. Had a smooth connection today as well. 81.8 on the board for Christian Petrov. As we look to Nick Hang. Back in the Sierra. Lights are on. And he's off for his first run of qualifying. Bahrain entering that car in and looking good doing so. Let's see. Transition across for clip 2, outside 2. Hanging on a little far there, a little offline as he heads into outside zone 3 now. Continuing on. Nicely done in the Manji section here. Last and final outside zone. And across the finish line, Nick Hang.
Kang looking pretty okay there in that run, matching the same score as Christian Petrov, an 81.8. But we move over now to Dmitry Mitten, sitting at the line in the BMW, waiting for those lights to go to see maybe if he can beat that 89 from Martinez Ostreka. Lights go on, off he goes, down the straight, grabbing the gears, initiates in, big flick entry, but makes it work. Lots of angle through outer zone 1. Now into outer zone 2, almost on the lock stops. Little twitching in the front wheels, holding it together nicely, not changing that angle up as he's going through the first wall ride of outer zone 3. Transitions across the track, now into the final wall ride. Smoothly done, gets back on throttle and finishes it out.
Yeah, not bad from Dmitry Mitten there on his first run of qualifying. And a 90 on the board, our first 90. I'll put him in that number 1 position here in Group 1. Brandon Williams, ready to go for his first run. And through the gate. Good initiation, nice and safe from Brandon Williams. Transitioning across the track and filling outside zone 2 all the way out there to that track edge. Small little bobble in between the zones and settles in to outside zone 3 along that wall all the way around. Good transition for outside zone 4 as well. Into 5 all the way out there. Gets a piece of the wall. It does end up finishing the run. The wall claiming our first victim.
Yeah, and that was the wall during practice. You know, I saw a lot of drivers struggling with that final outer zone. That wall comes at you very quick. So if you have too much wheel speed or too much angle, you're going into it. But Brandon Williams, the 65.5, still on the board, so didn't get a 0. But is definitely going to have to improve for run number 2. Is Brandon Gardner now sitting at the line, ready to go for their first run of qualifying. It's in, looking good off the initiation, filling all of outer zone 1. No wavering as he makes the transition to outer zone 2, right along the yellow line. And Gardner looking dialed in here so far, along the first wall ride of outer zone 3, putting it right up on the wall, not lifting off that gas pedal. As he kicks up a bit of dirt off outer zone 4, makes that transition work, a little bobble midway through the final outer zone, but completes that run.
Yeah, another strong run. 91.5. That'll now slot him into the number 1 position above Dmitry Mitten. So Brandon Gardner now leading 91.5. Daryl Diaz on the line now, ready to go for his first run. Lights are on. Daryl's off. Turning it back in the S15 after switching from the Supra. And looking good through outside zone 1, now into 2, all the way out there to that yellow line, indicating the outside edge. Oh, getting a little piece of the wall. Continues on, though, just a small correction from that car. Nicely done for outside zone 4, maybe a puff of dirt. Oh, and into that second wall outside zone 5. But he will complete the run.
Definitely does. 73.8 on the board for Daryl Diaz after, well, a couple little mistakes there in run number 1, but we'll see what Cameron Mustard can do. He's at the line here in that beautiful R32, ready to get down for qualifying. Out of the gate and initiates in. Looks good off the initiation. Nice angle as transitions towards outer zone 2. A little bobble there right near the exit of outer zone 2. But holds it together for the wall ride of outer zone 3. Nicely done through that outer zone. Now through 4, last transition. Right onto the wall for outer zone 5, finishing out the run strong for Cameron.
Yeah, a strong run from Cameron. Did I see a little 3-wheel into outside zone 2 there from Cameron Mustard? My goodness. And an 87.2 on the board. Cameron. Now Vitali. Through the gate for his run number 1. Big flick initiation and filling outside zone 1. Nice and smooth on his transition across to 2, all the way out there to that yellow line as well. Good transition into 3 and locks in that angle. Stays there the whole way through that wall. Filling outside zone 4. Last and final outside zone here along this last wall. Nicely done from Vitaly.
Yeah, Vitaly coming out swinging on run number 1 and 90.3, and that almost puts him into the number 1 spot. Grabs second place off of run number 1, and now Nico Stalea at the line in the FDRX7. Last driver for the first set of runs. Gotta run them back one more time. Initiates in, looking good off of the initiation through outer zone 1. Good transition into outer zone 2, right along that yellow line. Now the first wall ride, outer zone 3, no wavering. Putting it right up against the wall. Looking great so far for Nico here. One last transition, one last wall ride to go. Slows it down quite a bit. Hopefully the judges still score it pretty good.
Yeah, let's see what comes through on the board. And there it is, 92.8 on the board for Nico. So now, new number 1 qualifier, Nico Stalea here in the first group. We're back around to Ostraka. Unfortunately, his sound on the car is broken. He's going to initiate and fill outside zone 1. Nice and smooth transition into 2. Filling that one as well all the way out to that track edge. Just barely touching that rumble into outside zone 3. Staying out there to that wall. Maybe giving it a little scrape before leaving it. Filling outside zone 4 all the way out there. Ooh, getting a little bit into the wall.
Now Straka there with a little bit of a shaky run number 2. That final score to come in and finishes out qualifying with a 78.5. So probably not the best score he wanted to see out of today, but that 89 still not too shabby as we move back over to Christian Petrov sitting on an 81.8. Looking to improve. Initiates in after coming out of practice with that gas pedal issue. Run number 1 went swell. We'll see how run number 2 goes. Lots of angle leaving outer zone 2 into the first wall ride for outer zone 3. He manages to get the car all the way up against the wall. Now for the next transition at outer zone 4, the final wall ride approaches. He throws that angle and couldn't really get it as deep as he wanted it to, but manages to finish out the run.
Yeah, dropping a lot of speed into that last and final outside zone and 75.2. So we'll have to wait and see if that 81.8 is going to hold up to put him into battles. Nick Hang. Hang off for run number 2. See if he can better his 81.8. He enters that Sierra in. Filling outside zone 1. Nicely done on his transition. Small, tiny wobble through outside zone 2. Good. Ooh. Little shaky on that transition into outside zone 3. There's a small little off throttle zone, but we see a little bit of brake lights popping up there and all the way out there for outside zone 5, trying to save the run. Nicely done from Nick Hang.
Yeah, Nick Hang throwing it all out there and just hoping that it works. And, well, works indeed. Wait for that last score to give us the final total. There it is, 83.5, so bettering the 81.8, moving him up just a little bit further. So we move back over to Dimitri Mitten, the first driver of the day to get into the 90s, maybe hoping to go even higher. The lights go on for Dimitri Mitten's second run here of qualifying. Initiates in, big flick initiation into outer zone 1. Nicely done through outer zone 1. Nice angle. Has a little bobble there through outer zone 2. Makes the transition now to the first wall ride of outer zone 3. And looking very good. Nice and solid up against the wall. Makes the transition, kicking up a little bit of dirt for that final wall ride. Finishing it out strong. Good run from Dimitri.
Yeah, trying to better the 90. Will it be enough? It is. 93.2 on the board for Dimitri Mitten. Now, at number 1 position just over Nico Stalea. Nico still has a second run. Brandon Williams at the line ready to go for his second run. Needs to better the 65.5 that he currently has on the board, and he's got it in him. See what he can do. Initiating in. Would have been a little bit deeper for outside zone 1. Transitions across maybe a little late, and he puts him just on the outside of that yellow line. Working his way through outside zone 3 along that wall now. All the way out there. Transitioning for 4. Ooh, goodness gracious. We thought he was going to go into the wall. He saves it. Continues on. So should be enough to better the 65.5.
Definitely is. 75.2 after that close encounter in the last outer zone. But now sitting on a 91.5. Brandon Gardner back at the line, wanting to improve. Let's see what Brandon has for us for run number 2. Out of the gate, down the straight, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation so far for Brandon as he makes a transition into outer zone 2, puts it right along that yellow line, holding nice angle throughout outer zone 2. The first wall ride comes at him of outer zone 3. Doing a nice job so far, right along that wall as he makes transition through 4. One last wall ride to go, throws lots of angle at it, but it makes it work. Very nice run from Brandon.
Going after the 91.5, trying to better it. Trying to better the 93.2, but does fall short. 90.8 on the board for Brandon Gardner. We turn back to Daryl Diaz for run number 2. Needs to better that 73.8 if he wants to be safe into battles. Rotary powered S15 and throwing that car into outside zone 1. Could have been a little bit deeper, but definitely going for it as he fills outside zone 2. Works his way back across that track for outside zone 3 along that wall. Trying to hang the wing over the wall there as he does, leaving it. Filling outside zone 4 into 5 now. Picking up throttle on time and all the way out there. Nicely done from Daryl Diaz.
Daryl Diaz really wanting to come back at that 73.8 from run number 1 and does better it by almost 10 points, and 83.3 on the board as Cameron Mustard sits at the line. A little update there from Christian Petrov. His gas pedal did die yet again after run number 2 there. So we'll see if we see him later on in battles, if he can get that issue all fixed up as Cameron Mustard's lights go on for the second run of qualifying. Sitting on that 87.2, initiating in. Looking good through outer zone 1. Makes the transition now to outer zone 2. Nice and smooth through outer zone 2. Onto the wall ride now of outer zone 3. Puts it right on the wall. And nicely holds it there all the way through outer zone 3. Makes the transition for outer zone 4. No wavering. Looking good so far. A little tap to the wall there, though, right at the end. But hopefully that doesn't hurt him too bad in his points.
Now let's see, just giving the wall a little smooch there before leaving that last and final zone. He does better at 88.3, so we'll have to wait and see if that'll put him into battles. And we not only have our top 32, we also have the last 16 just after traditional qualifying. Vitali, ready to go for his second run. Trying to better the 90.3, maybe working to work up into that number 1 position over Dimitri with a 93.2. Vitali on the yellow line for outside zone 1. Zone 2 as well. Strong run so far as he transitions into outside zone 3. All the way up there against that wall, hanging the wing over it. Working his way across outside zone 4 now into outside zone 5. Nice line. And across the line.
A very good run from Vitali indeed. That was just pure commitment through the whole course, and the score shows for it. A 97.2 for Vitali Isaiah for run number 2. Absolutely amazing. Looking at how the judges scored that, I don't think it gets any better. But Nico isn't one to shake a stick at. Sitting on a 92.8 in that FDRX7. Can he take the top spot here from group number 1? Initiates in through outer zone 1. Looks great through outer zone 1 and 2 as well. No wavering, right where he needs to be. It'll come down to the wall ride of outer zone 3. Doing a great job holding that wing over, adding the angle, making the transition work for outer zone 4. Slows it down just maybe a bit too much into the final outer zone, but we'll see how the judges score it.
That's our last driver of the group as well, 94.7. So he does move back into that second position with a very strong run 2 and run 1 for a tiebreaker if needed. So he'll finish with that 94.7 in second. Vitaly stays at number 1 after group 1 of qualifying. Dimitri Mitten, 93.2 on the board for that third position. Brandon Gardner at 91.5 as well. So a lot of very strong scores just there in those first, 10 drivers. So group 2 now loading in. They'll get a few practice runs here and there before we line them back up. And another strong group coming up as well. Brandon Patrick to start things off. Robert Kivsinski, Erica Jerkis, Jordan L. Nasser, Austin Zalewski, Simon Salmon, Reese Tatterson, Masashi Yoshida, Russell Jones, and Hiroa Manoa. All for group 2. A strong group. What are we thinking, Tanner? You think the 97.2 is going to hold that number 1 position, or we're going to see higher?
I mean, with the level of these drivers, I'm not going to say it's not possible. I mean, we still have some big, heavy hitters coming up. So it's anyone's game, though, with we may have found a track that might have thrown them off their game a little bit. As normally Group 1 we see some crazy scores, but only a few this time around with that 97.2, the 94.7 from Nico, and the 93 from Dimitri. But I mean, we still have lots of drivers to get through, and any one of these guys can come out of nowhere and bang off a 98, maybe even a 98.5, maybe an elusive 99. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like a total of 52 drivers showing up today. So a total of 5 groups of qualifying. We're heading into group 2 now. And yeah, as you said, there's a lot to go. We're getting the last call from those judges, and Brandon Patrick will be coming to the line for his first run of qualifying. Switching things up and going with the Z4. They're starting the season out in the E36. Big fan of this car. Looks great. Livery looks great. We'll just wait on those judges to send them off. There he goes. Brandon Patrick off for round number 1 here in Group 2. Round 4 all the way out there to that track edge for outside zone 1. Good transition across, nice and smooth, all the way out to that track edge as well. Dives that car into outside zone 3 along the wall. Small, tiny little bobble there, and all the way out there. Ooh, almost dropping a tire heading into outside zone 5. I almost jumped out of my seat. My goodness.
Brandon Patrick for group number 2, starting things off strong as he just decided, what happens if I leave my foot buried? It's either going to be it works or I hit a wall. And well, it worked. A 92.3 on the board for Brandon Patrick. Next at the line, Robert Kavinsky. Well, in that Toyota Supra, ready to see if he can maybe shake some things up a bit. We all always think that, it's going to be a 95 cutoff. It's never like that. Or an 89. It's always going to be crazy. Initiating through outer zone 1. Looking great for Robert so far. Now into outer zone 2. Holding a good line and good angle. Now for the first wall ride. Throws that Supra at the wall. And does so beautifully. No wavering through outer zone 3. Grabs the short outer zone 4. And then dives it into outer zone 5 for that final wall ride. finishes out the run.
Yeah, good start to Robert's day there for run number 1. Let's see what that score is going to be like. Look at there, 90.3 on the board. We're racking up the 90s quickly as we've got 6 of them. Robert now 6th position. Erikas Yerkes, one of the VDC OG drivers, I believe, all the way back to season 1. Erikas initiating into outside zone 1. Big angle, leaving it into outside zone 2 now. Filling it all the way around. And hanging on to that wall. He draws out of the angle a little bit. I thought he was headed out there a little too far. See, fills outside zone 4 now, heading into 5, all the way out there, using that rumble strip. Maybe using the wall there before crossing that finish line.
Yeah, Erikas almost thought he wasn't going to make it, but he somehow managed to save it. That just goes to show the experience. 89.7 on the board for Erikas Yerkes, so not a bad run number 1. Next at the line, Jordan L. Nasser. Watched him quite a bit in practice, and well, he was actually looking really good. So let's see what run number 1 has in store for Jordan as he gets the go-ahead. The lights go on, and off he goes. Initiating in. Looking good off the initiation so far. Through outer zone 1 to transition to outer zone 2. Nice and clean along that track edge. Now the scary bit. The outer zone 3 goes off the wall, but keeps it in drift. Doesn't go into opposite lock. Now through outer zone 4. Just keep it together. One last outer zone to go. Taps the wall again, but crosses that line. See what the judges score him with.
Yeah, a little unfortunate into both of those walls. So 61 on the board for Jordan, but was looking very good up until those points. Just a little late picking that throttle back up for outside zone 3. Gets a piece of that wall. But we're on to Austin Zalewski for run number 1. And he throws that super into outside zone 1. Great initiation from him. Tons of speed, hanging on to that momentum as well. Small bobble through outside zone 2, headed into outside zone 3 now along the wall. Hanging that wing over it. And filling outside zone 4 as well. Last and final transition. And a smooth decel into that last and final outside zone. Nicely done from Austin Zalewski.
Blink and you miss it on that run. Holy Austin, 91.8 on the board. So very good run and a very quick run indeed. Simon Sandman sitting at the line now, ready for his first run of qualifying. The lights go on. He takes off in that S chassis down the straight, ready to initiate in. Flicks it in through outer zone 1. Looking good so far off that initiation. Transitions to outer zone 2. Maybe goes just a tad wide there, but looks good into the transition for outer zone 3. Right up against the wall. Beauty job so far here from Simon Sandman. Makes the final transition towards the final wall ride in the final outer zone. Finishes out the run super strong.
Yeah, good start for his qualifying as well, and a 90.5 on the board as we've got a full sheet of 90s now, 1 through 8. Vitali still leading with the 97.2. Reese Tatterson, the Team Heinze RTR Mustang, throwing that Mustang into outside zone 1. Smooth transition across into outside zone 2. Gets out to that track edge towards the back half of that zone as he picks up throttle for outside zone 3. We can see he's got some grip dialed into that Mustang as he transitions, fills outside zone 4 into 5. Putting that bumper along the wall. Nicely done from Reese Tatterson.
Good job indeed from Reese there. And I mean, those Mustangs are so big. Like when we see them in battles compared to like the FDs or the S chassis, I mean, I give them credit for being able to wheel those RTRs around. It's an 88 on the board for Reese Tatterson's first run. As now we move over to Masashi Yoshida in the BMW wagon. Love this model. Such a great car and a great driver. See what they can do for run number 1. Down the straight, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation so far for Yoshida as he transitions into outer zone 2. Adds quite a bit of angle right at the end of outer zone 2 there, but it works for him for the transition to outer zone 3. Puts that bumper right on the wall as he makes the transition now to outer zone 4 with tons of angle and throwing it at the final wall and just going for it is Masashi.
Yeah, absolutely. And a solid connection today from Yoshida there. 92.2. Nicely done from Masashi. 5th position now in qualifying here in Group 2. We've still got their second runs to go. Russell Jones leaving the gate for his first run. Initiating into outside zone 1, filling it nicely. Tons of angle as well as he leaves it. Could have been a little bit deeper heading into outside zone 2. And a snappy transition into outside zone 3 as he plants that car along the wall. Leaving it now, filling outside zone 4. A lot of speed heading into outside zone 5, but he picks up throttle early and across that finish line. Nicely done from Russell.
Got Russell Jones there really throwing it down. That little bobble though when he got on throttle that last outer zone ends up with an 86.5 for run number 1. So now to the last driver for this first sets of runs before we go back up to the top. Hiroa Minowa in the GT86. Lights go on. Off he goes for run number 1. Hiroa can throw down here. Initiates in. Looking good off the initiation. Gets that track edge near the end of outer zone 1. Makes the transition for outer zone 2. Really putting it deep into outer zone 2. He makes the transition now into outer zone 3. Gets it along that wall. And holds it there nicely through outer zone 3. Makes the transition for 4. Drops the tire just a little bit as he makes a beauty transition into 5. And as I say that, bounces off the wall, but it shouldn't affect his score too much.
Yeah, heroic cooking through the course there. So we wait on those judges. So a 75.3. A couple of little things to button up there for Brandon Patrick for run number 2. Any better than 92.3? Any better than 97.2 as he entered into outside zone 1. Big angle before transitioning across, filling outside zone 2. And snappy into outside zone 3. Picking up throttle early. I'm not even sure if he lifted. As he fills outside zone 4 now. Tons of angle, transitioning across, picking up throttle all the way out there. Gives it a smooch. And across the finish line.
Well, definitely trying to go for it on run number 2 is Brandon Patrick. Not improving on that 92, but ending up with an 86.3 for run number 2. Now we move over back to Robert. Robert sitting on that 90.3. All these drivers always wanting to improve or get a good tiebreaker scores. Initiates in, looking good through outer zone 1. Not a lot of angle through outer zone 1, but a good line as he makes the transition into outer zone 2. Now down to 3, that wall ride of outer zone 3 and looking good through outer zone 3. No wavering, holding nice angle through it. Makes the transition through 4. One last one to go for run number 2 for Robert Kavinsky and makes it through the course nice and clean. That might be enough to improve that 90.3.
It might be. Let's find out. 93.2. So he does move up qualifying leaderboard there. 3rd position now for Robert. Erikas Yerkas now at the line. 89.7 currently on the board for Erikas. He's going for a big initiation and filling outside zone 1. Tons of angle before transitioning across almost 90. Going a little bit too deep in outside zone 2. Oh, and getting a piece of the wall in outside zone 3. He gets right back to it. He continues on filling outside zone 4 now. Now into outside zone 5. Picking up throttle and across the finish line. So big deduction coming from that wall tap there.
As we wait for one more judge to let us know how much of a deduction it was, and he gets a nice score of 69 on the board for run number 2, but definitely not beating that 89.7 for run number 1. Sitting also in the 60s on a 61, Jordan L. Nasser, run number 2, needs to make it happen on this run. Give it everything you got, Jordan. Throw it into outer zone 1. Looking good so far through outer zone 1. Makes it work beautifully for outer zone 2, adding lots of angle for the transition into the wall ride of outer zone 3. Keeps it together this time through outer zone 3. Nice and against that wall as he makes the transition work for outer zone 4. Now the scary bit, the part he messed up a lot in practice, but nails it for the second run of qualifying, Jordan El Nasser.
Okay, Jordan. Jordan putting in a ton of practice this past week. I believe ended up in second with most laps completed. So 90.5 for Jordan El Nasser. Nicely done for him. So he'll sit 10th position as we move to Austin Zalewski. 91.8 currently on the board. And filling outside zone 1. Austin moving through the course once more, filling outside zone 2 into 3 now. And just burying the throttle through the floor for outside zone 3, across for outside zone 4 now, into the last and final outside zone along the wall. Austin Zalewski once again flying through the course.
Yeah, Austin really keeping his foot down in that Supra, but showing, hey, maybe just a little bit more speed and a bit more confidence. I can beat that 91.8 and beat it. He does. 96.3 on the board. That goes back to our conversation from the beginning of this group. It can happen with anyone. Any of these drivers are more than talented enough to get up there and take that number 1 spot. As we move over back to Simon Sandman, sitting on a 90.5 in that S15. Down the straight he comes and initiates in, looking good off of the initiation. A little bobble there right near the end of outer zone 1, but it doesn't affect him through outer zone 2. Makes it nice and clean. Now for the wall ride of outer zone 3. Looking nice and clean through the wall ride of outer zone 3, right up against that wall. Makes the transition. Now for the final one, kicking up some dirt. Definitely touching that wall right near the end. But what a drive from Simon on run number 2.
Yeah, really throwing it into that last and final outside zone. 87.2, so he'll stick with his 90.5. Reese Tatterson on his 88. Any work into the 90s, currently 14th here in Group 2. He initiates in, filling outside zone 1, transitions across for 2, and filling it nicely all the way out there to that track edge. Big transition across for outside zone 3, putting that bumper along that wall. Big transition across for outside zone 4, and the last and final outside zone, a little bit too deep, gets into the wall. I may have to stick with the 88, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to have to, and does fall short. 79.3 for Reese Tatterson's second run. Now, 3 drivers remain for group number 2. Masashi Yoshida at the line, 92.2. Let's see what run number 2 can throw at us. Down the straight, initiating in, right along the track edge on the initiation, looking good through outer zone 1. Throwing it into outer zone 2. Masashi here to make a statement as he throws it into outer zone 3. Could be just a bit deeper, but as I say that, might just touch the wall there through outer zone 3. Makes the transition perfectly through outer zone 4, but too hard into the final outer zone, bouncing off that wall. But what a run that was shaping up to be.
My goodness, the way he threw it in. The last and final outside zone was insanity. So an 81.5 on the board. So he'll stick with the 92.2 still. Solid score. Russell Jones at the line, ready to go. Can he better the 86.5? Lights are on. It's off for run number 2. He initiates in, could have been a little bit deeper for outside zone 1, has a small little bobble in it as well. Smooth into outside zone 2 though, as he heads into outside zone 3 now along the wall, kind of jumps out of that zone just a little bit, but works it back to the outside, all the way out to that wall, filling outside zone 4 and into 5, picking up throttle maybe a tiny little tap along that wall before crossing the finish line.
Yeah, definitely looked like he went into the wall there just a little bit and ends up with an 87.8. So just beating out his 86.5 as we go back to the final driver of group number 2, Hiro Aminawa, sitting on a 75.3, which isn't really normal. So let's see if maybe he gets together here for run number 2, initiates in. Could have been deeper at the beginning of outer zone 1, but makes up for it near the exit. Transitions into outer zone 2, looking beautiful through outer zone 2. Transitioning to the scary wall ride of outer zone 3. Goes in tentatively, a little timid, but makes up for it. Finishes out outer zone 3 to grab outer zone 4. Now down into outer zone 5. Again, a little bit of a timid run, but finishes it out strong.
That really smooth into outside zone 5 though. If there's anything to take away from that, 84.8, and that, you know, sometimes you wonder how much of it is lag that we're seeing, especially through the transitions and being all the way over in Japan and showing up so late as well. I got to give it to him out there in Japan, showing up for these rounds super late over there and still putting an 84.8 on the board. So that's going to do it for group number 2. We're going to load in group number 3 now into the server. And what's more, strong group. All these groups are, of course, strong. Danielis Parangauskas, Tikon Pileski, Riley Sobush, Daniel Mora, Alan Hines, Kawain Ebanks, Andreas Linne, Zach O'Sullivan, Ethan Minima, and William Holloway, all in group 3. We'll get a refresh on that. There we go. Your top qualifying scores as we load Group 3 in. Harley top 32 will be right after our qualifying stream. We usually take about an hour break and then come back with the top 32 main event. But right after our traditional qualifying, we have our last 16 battles, which is 29 through 44 qualifiers get placed into a 16 bracket. We play that out until we have 4 left, and we slot those 4 drivers into those 29 through 32 places in the top 32. Then we come back for our main event. Getting the last call from those judges to watch Danielis take his last and final practice run here. We squeeze everything into one day. We have been having little chitter chatters about maybe breaking it up into 2 days, but we'll see. Yeah, the drivers also feel about that. Danielis at the line, ready to go. Run number 1 here for Group 3. Turning back in that IRT E36, initiating in, kicking up a little bit of dirt there. A little low on angle through outside zone 1 as well, but nicely done for outside zone 2 along that yellow line as he works that way up into outside zone 3 now. A little timid there along that wall as he transitions across, filling outside zone 4, now into 5. Maybe kicking up a little sparks on the wall there.
Definitely going into it with some passion is what I'll say for that run. We'll see what kind of score comes up. An 87.8 for run number 1 for Danielis. So not too shabby, but now at the line. Well, our current points leader in the championship, Tikon Pileski, but only 3 points behind him, Alan Hines, also in this group. So qualifying is going to be everything for these guys today. Beautiful run for Tikon into Outer Zone 1. And look at that, the robot showing what he can do through Outer Zone 2. And the wall ride into Outer Zone 3. Look at this. Masterclass here from Tikon as he comes through Outer Zone 4. Now into Outer Zone 5. Maybe slowing it down just a little too much for Outer Zone 5. This is going to be a battle here, even in qualifying.
Just needs to dial his sliders up. So 92.8 on the board for Tikon. Beat Boat Pileski. 6th position here in qualifying. We're on to Riley Sobush. Through the gate. Going for a snappy initiation. Filling outside zone 1. Good angle. Nice and smooth into outside zone 2. Riding that track edge there along that yellow line. Nicely done for the transition into outside zone 3 as well. Carrying some speed through it as he buries that bumper in the wall. Filling outside zone 4. Last and final transition. A little bit on the inside. Works it to the outside. Nicely done from Riley.
Yeah, I'll give the big shout out to Riley Sabush there, finally heading on out from my hometown. So, what up, Riley? Great to have you back.
Yeah,
88.3 on the board as we move over to Daniel Mora. Daniel waits for that light to go on, is sitting there for qualifying. That's always the nervous point, waiting for those lights to go on. But once they do, it's all gas and a race towards that initiation. And off Daniel Mora goes, looking good through Outer Zone 1 in that E30. Now through Outer Zone 2. Looking pretty good so far here for Daniel Mora as he gets into Outer Zone 3, puts it right on the wall and holds it there nicely. Now towards Outer Zone 4, kicking up some dirt and using all of that braking zone for Outer Zone 5, but maybe not enough, still going into the wall.
Yeah, and kind of shutting the run down. We'll have to see if we see some points come across the board there. They do. So a 68.3. Alan Hines now at the line. Team Heinze, RTR Mustang through the gate for run number 1. And a run Kenny put down, throwing that car into outside zone 1 all the way out to that track edge, and nicely done into outside zone 2. Hanging on to that angle, adding some before transitioning into outside zone 3, planting that car into the zone. Big Mustang bumper along the wall, filling outside zone 4 as well, into 5. Nice and smooth and across the line. So maybe a little safe from Alan.
A little safe, 91.7 on the board. So with these guys 3 points behind, I mean, even the points you make up in qualifying are going to matter here. We'll see what run number 2 has to do for them. Is now at the line, Quayne Ebanks in the R35. Ready to throw it down for the first run of qualifying. Lights go on, off he goes. Quayne initiates in, looking good off of the initiation through Outer Zone 1, transitions towards Outer Zone 2. A nice line, adding quite a bit of angle right near the end of Outer Zone 2, but makes it work for the transition into Outer Zone 3. Really gets the bumper planted right near the end of Outer Zone 3. He makes up through 4. Now for that final wall ride into Outer Zone 5. Looks like a pretty solid run there from Quayne.
Yeah, and full commitment through the run. He did sort of leave the zone in outside zone 3 and maybe a little bit in outside zone 4, but strong score of 90.5 on the board. Andreas off for his first run in that Rockstar Energy A90 Super M, filling outside zone 1, driving out of it into outside zone 2 now all the way up to that track edge. And a snappy transition into outside zone 3 as he's cooking through it. Even small little bobble there through the middle of that zone, all the way out there for outside zone 4. Oh, and dropping a little bit of tire heading into outside zone 5. That's going to put him in the wall. Big correction there.
Yeah, big mistake there, but Andreas can make up for it. As soon as I saw those brakes lock on, I was like, oh no. But 73.5 on the board, and we'll see what he can do for run number 2 is now our previous virtual drift champion, Zach O'Sullivan, at the line, ready to hopefully make his own statement here. And run number 1 initiates in, looks good off the initiation. And some transitions now to outer zone 2. Looking good through all of outer zone 2. No wavering, no bobbles. Let's see how outer zone 3 treats him. Beautiful. Right up along the wall through all of outer zone 3. Zach O'Sullivan swinging here for run number 1. As he gets it right on the wall yet again for outer zone 5 and finishes out the run strong.
Yeah, good run for run number 1. 92.5. I believe that'll put him into that 8th position. 7th. So we turn to Ethan Minima now. His first run and throwing it all the way out there to that track edge for Ethan into outside zone 1. Now 2. Maybe going a little bit too far there. Very close. Nicely done for outside zone 3 now. As he hangs on to that wall. Good line heading into outside zone 4, but he does drop just a tiny little bit of tire, picking up throttle and across the finish line.
Oh, good job from Ethan there, saving it. Thought he was going into that wall, but he got back on throttle. The car rotated with him, so a 91.8 on the board for Ethan Minima as we go to our last driver of Group 3 for the first set of runs. Ethan Minima in that RX-7. Ready to throw down. There we go. Now the lights come on and off he can go for the first run of qualifying. Liam Holloway initiating in. Looking good through outer zone 1. Makes the transition over to outer zone 2. No bobbling and full throttle as he comes into outer zone 3. Puts it up against the wall there. Looking good so far here for William Holloway. Makes the transition through outer zone 4. Now that final outer zone, but oh no, too much brake. He tried to clutch kick it to get it back into the zone. But I think that's really going to hurt his score there.
Yeah, it dropped a little bit of tire heading into it. I think he, sort of assumed he was going into the wall because, I mean, I guess you say he was and really kind of saved it there, but a low score of 62. So Danielis back to the line for run number 2. 87.8 currently on the board and sitting 21st as he initiates in, picking up throttle for outside zone 1 as he works his way across the track and a little bit too deep for outside zone 2, dropping some tire there, transitioning in to outside zone 3 now. Small little wobble and adding some angle before transitioning for outside zone 4, kicking up a little bit of dirt. Nicely done for outside zone 5 though, and crossing the finish line.
So Danielis sitting on that 87.8, waiting for one more judge to put the score in, and an 86.8 for run number 2 for Danielis. As we move over to Tikhon Pileski, sitting on a 92.8. Current rivals, Alan Hines on the 91.7, and Zach O'Sullivan on that 92.5. He's got to throw it down here for run number 2. Throws it in beautifully through outer zone 1. Now into outer zone 2. Look at that, the speed, the angle. Now into outer zone 3. Looking beautiful through outer zone 3, right along the wall, as close as you can probably get as he makes it through 4. And now it comes down to this, outer zone 5. It's all about how you can go through outer zone 5, and we'll have to wait for the judges to see that score. But that was a great run from Tikhon.
Dialed in is Tikhon, 96.7 on the board, so they'll put him into 2nd position. So I think just picking up throttle just a tiny bit late in the outside zone 5, and Riley Riley's gone. Or he's not. And he's in outside zone 2. And as he continues on, filling outside zone 3 into outside zone 4. Well, what we did see...
Mulligan?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if this also happened with the judges as well. Yeah, he gets a 0 on the board.
Yeah, it happened to me too. It showed that he was completely disconnected from the server, and then all of a sudden he reappeared.
Yeah, even his name disappeared off the, app to select the names.
That'll be an interesting one, but the judges called it as a 0, and I know in the rule book the lag rules state, if the lag's on you, that's on you. So we'll see what happens there. Daniel Mora at the line, sitting on at 68.3. Lights go on. Let's see what Daniel Mora can throw down for run number 2. Throws it in. Could have been a bit deeper into outer zone 1 off of that initiation, but makes up for it in outer zone 2. Maybe even dropping a little bit of tire there at the end of outer zone 2 and throws it in towards that wall at outer zone 3. Barely lifting the throttle as he comes through outer zone 4. Now the final test. Outer zone 5 gets on throttle and pushes through to the end. Very quick run from Daniel Mora.
Yeah, it sure was, and a big improvement on the score. So an 86.3 on the board for Daniel Mora. Alan Hines back at the line, currently sitting on his 91.7. So a strong first score. Does he have it in him to better the 91.7? Going for a smooth initiation, adding some angle there. Transitioning into outside zone 2 and a small waiver on the angle there, hanging on to the line a little bit too long, I think, as well. But burying the bumper into outside zone 3 now, filling outside zone 4. And nicely done into outside zone 5 across that finish line. So trying to better the 91.7. We'll see if that was enough.
Well, it definitely was enough. Not quite enough to reach T-Con Pileski, but a 95 for run number 2. Very good job from Alan Hines indeed as we move over to Quayne Ebanks sitting on that 90.5. What run number 2 has in store for Mr. Ebanks. He initiates in, looking good off the initiation and through all of outer zone 1. Now down into outer zone 2. Good angle and good line through outer zone 2. Onto the wall for outer zone 3. Slowly inches that big R35 all the way to that wall. Makes the transition for outer zone 4. Big brakes, but gets back on throttle nice and early. And holds it through outer zone 5 and to the finish.
And look at that, 94.5 on the board. So Veteran is 90.5. That'll move him on up into that 6th position. Andreas coming off the 73.5. We saw him go into the wall just a little bit as he initiates now and outside zone 1 for run number 2. Good transition across for outside zone 2. A small little bobble there in that zone as he transitions across now for 3. Working that car out to the outside wall there. Leaving it now, filling outside zone 4 all the way out to that track edge. And nicely done, jumping out of the zone just a little bit. Having to make a big correction. Oh no. Across the finish line.
Well, he's hoping to improve on that 73.5, and he just might. Waiting for one more score. 76.5 on the board for Andreas Lene. Not a bad day at the office. Now we move over. Zach O'Sullivan, run number 2. Qualifying is getting exciting here. 92.5 initiates in for Zach O'Sullivan, throwing all the angle at outer zone 1. Makes the transition work for outer zone 2. Maybe dropping a tire there at outer zone 2 as he pushes towards outer zone 3. puts that E36's bumper right along the wall as he leaves outer zone 3, makes the transition now to outer zone 4, gets it up on those rumble strips, gets it slowed down, and gets back on throttle to finish out his second run of qualifying. Can he maybe top it?
Yeah, using every bit of that rumble strip, and he does. So a 95.7. So that'll put him in that 4th position. Still 2 more groups of qualifying left to go. We're in group 3, and this is Ethan Minima now. Heading on down the straight and initiating in, filling outside zone 1. As he transitions across now, filling outside zone 2 all the way out there to that track edge. And into outside zone 3 now. Strong run so far. He's on a good line, good angle, and all the way out there to that wall. All the way for outside zone 4 as well. Ethan Minima across the finish line.
Ethan throwing it down for run number 2, really wanting to improve that 91.8 and improve. He does a 94.3. Very good score indeed as we come to our last driver of group number 3. William Holloway in the FD, taking off, ready to start the final run. Initiates in, looking good off the initiation, filling all of outer zone 1. Now filling all of outer zone 2, maybe going a little too deep though and hitting that cone right at the end of it, but makes the transition work. Sticks it to the wall for outer zone 3. He's buried in that throttle as he makes the transition into outer zone 5, touches the wall just a little bit, drives out of it to finish out run number 2.
Yeah, dropping a little bit of tire in outside zone 2, but a much better score, 80.5 on the board. So that's going to do it for 3 groups of qualifying. There are your current top scores through 3 groups. Vitali is still sitting in that number 1 position with the 97.2. Tikon in that number 2 position. Austin Zalewski, Zach O'Sullivan, Alan Hines, Nico Stalea, Gawain Ebanks, and Ethan Minima to round out the top 8. So we're going to shut the server down, load in the next 2 groups of qualifying, and we'll be right back here with round 4 at Bahrain International Circuit. All right, and we are back. This is round 4, season 9 of the Virtual Drift Championship here at Bahrain International Circuit. If you're just now joining us, my name is Craig. With me, as always, is Tanner. Again, we're back with some more qualifying. What do you think so far?
I mean, so far it's like every other round, every season, where we're just like, they can't set the bar higher, nah, and then they do, and they improve, and it's just crazy. I mean, Vitaly coming out swinging with that crazy run at the beginning, but we've still got 2 more groups of drivers left to go. So we used to say that he stays on top to the end. We can only find out once we leave things out there with Maxime.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, another strong group of qualifying. All these groups are, of course, strong. Maxime Tingai will start us out. Olivier Belias, Oliver Eppinger, Luciano Canero, Abdul Rahman Al Shetli, Yaroslav Vasilio, Ernestes Yakulis, Victor Lacheris, Linus Tornquist, and Braden Swan, all here in Group 4. Here's our current top qualifiers. Vitaly still sitting on top with that 97.2. You think anyone can top the 97.2?
I mean, I think there is still a chance. There's still a couple guys left here in qualifying that definitely have the skill. Not saying that they're not skilled, it's just skill gap is insane. So it's anyone's game, really. I think there's still a chance that it could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of strong drivers coming up, and a few drivers I know got just a insane amount of practice in. I think Daniel Andreev in our last and final group ended up being the top laps of how many laps were completed in those practice servers. So last call from those judges. We should be bringing Maxime Tingai to the line for run number 1 here in Group 4. All right, lights are on. And Maxime is off. Initiating in, nicely done for outside zone 1. All the way out there to that track edge. And for outside zone 2, maybe a little bit too far as he transitions back for outside zone 3 along this big wall ride. Filling that zone all the way around. And picking up outside zone 4. Oh my goodness, I thought he was a little bit too far on the outside, but he gets it done across that finish line.
Maxime throwing it down for run number 1, just laying it all out like it's the only run. Wait for one more score to come in to see how Group 4 is going to start off with a 90.8 on the board for Maxime. It's not a bad way to kick things off as we move over to Olivier Belias. Sitting at the line. The lights go on and off he goes for run number 1. Initiates in. Looking good off the initiation through outer zone 1, filling all of outer zone 1, now into outer zone 2. Looks like he filled all of outer zone 2 from that angle, though it looks like he might have just dropped a tire. But beautifully done through outer zone 3, leaving it maybe just a little early as he comes through outer zone 4, now into the test of skill, into that final outer zone, bouncing off the wall and finishing out the run.
Yeah, just getting a little bit too far out there, but still a strong score. 89.2 on the board for Olivier. Oliver at the line in his Supra. Do we have some cutoff scores? We'll get that refreshed as Oliver leaves the start gate and initiates in. Flying through the course now, filling outside zone 2 all the way out there to that track edge. And looks like he's got some speed behind this run as he fills outside zone 3, now transitions across for 4 and into outside zone 5, across the finish line.
Yeah, a little tentative going into outer zone 5. Really had to slow that Supra down, but an 88 on the board isn't bad for the first run, and definitely still has one more to make up for it. Luciano Canero at the line now in the BMW. Ready to hopefully make his mark here in qualifying today. Lights go on, off he goes, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Lots of angle through outer zone 1. Makes the transition work into outer zone 2. Holds that angle all the way through. Now into outer zone 3 with confidence. Up against that wall. Makes the transition into outer zone 4. One last to go. Into outer zone 5. Really slows down that Beamer, but makes up for it near the end. Getting on throttle maybe just a little late.
Yeah, and it was quite the slowdown there. He did end up filling that zone, but 88.2 on the board for Luciano as we see that first cutoff score come in for that top 28. That's to lock yourself into the main event, top 32 later on today. 29 through 44 get put in the last 16, and here is Abdul Rahman filling outside zone 1. A little bit of lag on that first transition, heading into outside zone 2, filling it all the way around. A little bit of lag there as well, heading into 3. He sticks that car along that wall, filling outside zone 4. Last and final one, picking up that throttle on time and across the finish line. Nicely done from Al Shedwi.
Now Jillerman really showing out run number 1, 91.5. Very good score indeed as we move over to Yaroslav in the Mercedes. Cool little car. This is a neat one. Lights go on and off we go for run number 1 for Yaroslav. Initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. A little bobble there at the end of outer zone 1. Transitions into outer zone 2 and holds it nice and steady through outer zone 2 as he throws that Mercedes into outer zone 3. Puts it right up against the wall. Now transitions to outer zone 4. Maybe could have been a tad deeper into outer zone 4 as he throws it into 5. Really quick run for this Mercedes.
Yeah, he really gets that boat moving through the river. So we wait on that score, 92 on the board for Yaroslav. Estes. Waiting on the lights. And he's off for run number 1. Here in group 4, round number 4. And initiating in and putting that wheel on that yellow line. Transitions across, filling outside zone 2 now. And a nice and snappy transition into outside zone 3, and maybe giving the wall a little tap there. He leaves that zone now, filling outside zone 4, heading into the last and final wall ride, picking up throttle, and across that finish line.
Wow, Ernestus. Got on throttle, I think, beautifully for outer zone 5. 90.5 on the board. Not a bad first run score there as we move over to Victor Lacheris, sitting at the line, that FCRX7. Group 4 is becoming a really interesting group. Watching these guys, the way they're driving. Initiating in for Victor Lacheris. Good through outer zone 1. Holding it beautifully through outer zone 2 as well. Makes the transition to the wall ride in outer zone 3. Puts the bumper on the wall the whole way around outer zone 3. Looking good so far. Outer zone 4 complete. One last outer zone to go. And a little bobble and a tap into the wall right at the end. And that might hurt his final score.
At 84.3 on the board. So we see that top 28 cutoff score at 87.8 now. So safe in the top 44 for now, but we'll have to wait and see what that cutoff is going to be as well. Linus initiating in for his first run here in group 4. Transitioning across, filling outside zone 2 now. Small, tiny little bobbles in the angle. Transitioning into outside zone 3 now. Working his way along that big wall ride. Filling outside zone 4 and into 5. Picking up throttle, small little bobble, and across that finish line.
Well, Linus there coming in with an 87 on the board for run number 1. And now we move to the final driver of the first runs for Group 4, Braden Swan, sitting at the line in that 370Z. Lights go on and we'll see what kind of run Braden can lay down here before we go back up to the top and run them all again. Initiating in for Braden, looking good off the initiation. Finding that angle right near the end of outer zone 1. Makes the transition beautifully through outer zone 2. now down into outer zone 3. He is flying in this 370Z right now. Absolutely moving through this course and barely lifting off throttle, except for right there, but quickly regains the throttle. What a statement there from Braden.
Yeah, nicely done. Wait and see what the judges give him for that run. 87.2 on the board for Braden as we move back around to Maxime Tinguy. 90.8 currently on that board for Maxime. Initiates in, using a little bit of left foot brake in outside zone 1. Good transition for outside zone 2 as he rides that yellow line. Transitioning across into outside zone 3 now. In big wall ride, and he sticks it all the way around. Nicely done into 4 as well. Picking up that throttle and hanging on to the angle. There he goes across that finish line. Strong run.
Very strong run indeed, improving on that 90.8, moving up to a 92.5 for Maxime as we move over to Olivier at the line, sitting on an 89.2. Lights go on and off they go for their second run, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation through outer zone 1. Lots of speed down towards outer zone 2. Maybe going off track just a little bit there at outer zone 2 as he throws it towards the wall of outer zone 3. Still keeping that throttle buried through all of outer zone 3. Now the transition to outer zone 4 gets that S14 slowed down. Picks back up the throttle. No touch in the wall this time around for Olivier.
Yeah, trying to better that 89.2. Will it be enough? And it certainly is. 92 on the board for Olivier. Oliver now back at the line. And his A90 Supra trying to better the 88 that he currently has on that board. Just above that top 28 cutoff. We still have one more group left to go as he transitions across the outside zone 2 now. Filling it all the way out to that track edge. Nice and snappy into outside zone 3. Even picking up some momentum heading into it. As he buries the bumper along the wall all the way out there for outside zone 4. Maybe a little too far. Oh, no, over the wall. My goodness. That's impact, right? Bonus points?
That is... I think so. Yeah, that was impressive to say the least. I've never seen someone jump the wall. Well then, a 0 on the board for run number 2 for Oliver Eppinger. Going to keep his 88 as we move over to Luciano Canero now, sitting on an 88.2. That last run kind of broke me a little bit. Compose yourself. Initiating in, Luciano. Looking good through outer zone 1. Now the transition down to outer zone 2. Holding it along that line, but kind of wavering a little bit in that front end to try and keep that angle. As he makes the transition into outer zone 3, plants it on the wall and keeps it there. Now off the wall through outer zone 4. Last transition to outer zone 5. Gets on the brakes, picks up the throttle, and sends it home across that finish line.
Yeah, a little more commitment on that run into outside zone 5 there from Luciano. And the score was so fast. 92.7 on the board. So Abdul Rahman back at the line for run number 2. Currently sitting on his 91.5. Initiates in all the way out there to that track edge for outside zone 1. Connection looking a lot smoother now into outside zone 2. Transitions across into 3. Hanging that wing over the wall all the way around it. He transitions into 4 now, all the way out there again to that track edge, using the rumble strip, picking up throttle, but can't stay off the wall.
What was shaping up to be a beautiful run. Will the judges give him a score? Oh no, and a 0 for Abdulrahman's second run, and it was looking to be a heater run too. That is sad to see, but the way it goes here in qualifying for the Virtual Drift Championships as we move over to Yaroslav Veseleo, sitting on a 92 in that Mercedes. Initiates in, Looking good off the initiation through outer zone 1. Transitions into outer zone 2, keeping it right along that track edge. As he makes the dive now into outer zone 3. A really quick correction there. It through outer zone 3. It doesn't affect him too much. Transitions through outer zone 4. Throws lots of angle for the transition into outer zone 5, but completes out the run. And like you said, like a boat upstream, he can make that thing move.
Yeah, absolutely. So an 88.5 on the board. He'll stick with his 92, but a strong score indeed. Ernestes at the line. Well, trying to get on the line. 90.5 currently on the board for Ernestes. That top 28 working its way higher and higher. So Ernestes initiates in. Could have been a little bit deeper in the beginning of 1, but he gets to that outside edge and transitions into 2 and fills it all the way around it. Big snappy transition into outside zone 3 now as he works along that wall, hanging the wing over it, filling outside zone 4, and last and final transition. Nicely done, nice and smooth across that finish line.
Wow, that entry to outer zone 5, that was a sight. Not enough to top that 90.5, but a good tiebreaker with the 90.3. Move over to Victor Lacheris now, sitting on an 84.3. He's going to want to improve that score to hopefully make it into competition today and not be a part of the last 16. Initiates in. Looking good off of the initiation through outer zone 1. Nice angle as he makes the transition into outer zone 2. Holding it together with just a slight bobble near the exit of outer zone 2. Throws it into outer zone 3. Puts it right up against the wall for outer zone 3. Now, 2 more outer zones to navigate for Victor here. Transitions to outer zone 5. Puts it on the wall. Looks good for Victor Lacheris' second run.
Yeah, nicely done for that last and final outside zone as well. Putting that bumper right along the wall. 91.3, so bettering the 84.3, and that's going to put him above that top 28 cut off of an 88. But we may see it go even higher as we have one more group left to go. Linus sitting on his 87, so just below that top 28 cutoff. He leaves that start gate. Linus going for a big snappy initiation, filling outside zone 1, transitions across that track for outside zone 2, and makes a bobble in his angle, but sticks the line, transitions once more into outside zone 3 along this big wall ride. Hanging that bumper along the wall, transitions across, nicely done on his line into outside zone 5, picking up throttle, and across that finish line. Nicely done from Linus. Is it enough?
Yeah, Linus throwing it out there for the final run number 2. Can he beat that 87? He does improve up to a 90 on the board for run number 2 as we come to our last driver of group number 4 before we get into our last group of qualifying here for the Virtual Drift Championship. Braden Swan sitting on that 87.2. Had a very quick run for run number 1. That snappy initiation into outer zone 1. And now bringing it through to outer zone 2. The wheel speed in this car. He is flying out there. As he throws it into outer zone 3, slowly works his way out to that wall. Gets there near the end of outer zone 3. Makes the transition for 4. Now to get it slowed down, get back on throttle, and drive it all the way home through outer zone 5.
Yeah, another solid run from Braden Swan there, but falling just a little bit shy. 86.8 on the board. A little late on his transition across into outside zone 4. Maybe could have used a little bit more angle. But that is going to do it once more for group number 4. So we're going to load in a group number 5 now. Let them get a couple of practice runs in. We'll take a look at our top qualifying scores. So Vitaly still sitting on top with that 97.2. They yet to better it. Can group 5 do it? So group 5 loading in now will be Deshaun Reeves, Artem Chokov, Stanislav Tarasov, Ethan Pikachu, Kevin Stump, Brett Wolford, Kazuki Fukushi, Daniel Andreev, Lazam Asal, Alexander Yegard, Darius Ostrika, and Vladislav Yakulovich. Another super strong group coming up for Group 5. And of course, yeah, shout out to our other staff members helping us out in the background. So Dion, our we'll call Dion what? Our IT in the background helping us out. If something goes wrong with the sheet, it's Dion that of course knows to fix it, and he's changing all those names in the background. Our 3 judges today, Chris, Ed, and Carl, and Kay just making it to us today and working that start gate and making sure everyone's lining up straight. We have a little center line there marked on that lead starting position to make sure those lead cars are lining up straight in the box rather than super offset and trying to take an advantage in that lead position. What I meant to say, Dion, is we can't do it without you.
Exactly.
The last call being called before Deshaun Reeves comes to the line for his first qualifying run. And getting a better that 97 that's currently up on the board from Vitaly. Vitaly doing it all the way in Group 1 as well.
I think Vitaly is on track to be our Rookie of the Year at this point, and, well, really killing it out there.
Yeah, and I love the car change too. His Z4, it looks incredible. I love it. And here comes Reeves. Sean Rampage Reeves went to the line. Kick things off for Group 5, our last and final group of qualifying here for Round 4. Bahrain International Circuit. Track made by Fenrir, and it's free on his Patreon. Go check it out. As Deshaun, a little hesitant on the leave there in the gate, but he is off, initiating in and putting that Corvette into outside zone 1. Transitioning across to that track edge, maybe a little bit too far. Hard to tell there as he transitions into outside zone 3. Oh, and giving the wall a little tap, he straightens out, shuts the run down. Unfortunate to see for run number 1.
Yeah, even when he was coming towards outer zone 3, I'm like, that is quick in outer zone 3. I was like, he has full commitment here, but sadly it didn't work out for him. But we'll see him back around for run number 2. It's Artem Cholkov now sitting at the line. Give us experience his taste of qualifying here. Lights go on, off he goes, initiates in, kicking up some dirt off the initiation into outer zone 1, but filling it nicely down towards outer zone 2 now, holding a nice angle and line against that track edge into the treacherous first wall ride of outer zone 3. He puts the bumper of that Beamer right on it though, and holds it there, transitioning through outer zone 4, looking good. One last transition to go, slows that Beamer right down, gets back on throttle, finishes out the run for Artem Cholkov.
Yeah, solid run from Artem. Artem getting a lot of practice throughout the week as well, and he puts a 90 on the board, 90.2, and we watch that top 28 score get higher with an 88.3. Now, it's what is required to lock into the top 32. Here's Stanislav Tarasov switching cars in this Mercedes GT3, transitioning into outside zone 2 now, putting that wheel right along that track edge. Big transition into outside zone 3 now, working his way through, filling that zone all the way across, and 4 as well. Nice transition into 5, nice and smooth, and crossing the finish line. Stanislav.
Yeah, liking the car change for Stanislav, looking good in it and doing well. 93.7 on the board for run number 1 for Stanislav. But that's a good way to show out the new chassis is working. Next at the line, Ethan Pikachu. one of the VDC OGs leaving the line. Ready to see what they can do for run number one here. Initiating in, looking good off the initiation through outer zone one. Transitioning now towards outer zone two, nicely keeping it along that track edge, holding a good angle as well as it transitions down to outer zone three along that wall and keeps it planted on that wall as he moves over to outer zone four, throws tons of angle at outer zone four, and it doesn't help him into outer zone five. He doesn't quite get into the zone until about midway through it, but does finish out the run.
Yeah, not too bad there for run number one, 88.5, and sets that top 28 cutoff score. And Kevin Stump at the line, ready to go for his first run here in the last group of qualifying. Lights are on. Kevin through the gate. Going for a big initiation. Filling outside zone one. Good transition for outside zone two. He sticks the angle there. Nice and smooth into outside zone three as well. As he plants the throttle now. Transitioning across. Could have been a little bit deeper at four. Little tentative heading into outside zone five, but he fills it all the way around across the finish line.
Yeah, Kevin looked like he's just getting comfortable out there for run number one, and then maybe going to go for a Hail Mary run in run number two, and 84.7 on the board as we move over to Brett Wolford. Ready to go for run number one. Another Mustang joining the fray. Initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Could have been a bit deeper through outer zone one. Transitions down to outer zone two. Now holding it together, throwing lots of angle to set up for outer zone three, but it works for him, keeping that throttle buried through outer zone three. Brett on a tear here as he makes his way through outer zone four, gets slowed down for outer zone five, finishes out that run nice and clean.
Yeah, nicely done from Brett Wolford. And a 91.7 on the board for Brett. Fun fact, Brett was sort of track tester for the past couple of seasons before getting his license. He used to help me set up all the layouts, and now he's driving here in the championship. Kazuki initiating in. Transitioning across for outside zone two now right along that yellow line. Little bobble on the angle before transitioning into outside zone three now. Sticking with it. Filling four. Into five, and a little bit too much angle, has to pull out of it before crossing the finish line.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt his score there. Ends up with a 76 on the board for run number one, but still has another run to make up for it. Next at the line, Daniel Andrzejewski. That BMW heading down the line, initiating in, looking good off the initiation, filling all of outer zone one. Now the transition down to outer zone two, holding a good line and angle through outer zone two. And transitioning now towards outer zone three. Daniel keeping it planted here and looking good through outer zone three. Makes the transition through four, kicks up some dirt though, maybe dropping a tire. Going into outer zone five with probably the fastest we've seen through outer zone five. He finishes out that run.
Yeah, nicely done. Really smooth run throughout, and a 93.7 on the board for Daniel Andrzejewski. Slot him into that 10th position. We'll have to wait and see what his second run is going to look like. Lazam at the line for his first run here in the last group. Initiating in. Filling outside zone one. Good transition across for two. And look at there, planting that wheel along that yellow line. Good transition across into outside zone three as well as he puts that bumper along that wall. Leaving it now, filling outside zone four. Good line into five as well, picking up throttle. Look at there, across the finish line, Lazam.
Bam going for it in run number one and does make it with a 90.5. Very nice starting score for run number one. It's Alexander Yeager now sitting at the line. Waiting for the lights to go, and there they are. Alexander heads down, initiates into outer zone 1, looking good off the initiation through outer zone 1, filling all of that zone, now into outer zone 2, maybe just dropping a little bit of tire on the outside of outer zone 2, but makes up for it by transitioning nicely into outer zone 3 and slowly putting that rear bumper on the wall of outer zone 3, makes the transition to outer zone 4, throws lots of angle, but it sets him up nicely for outer zone 5 to finish out run number 1.
And look at there, a 91.7 on the board. The top 28 cutoff now into the 90s. A 90.2 is what is needed to lock yourself into that top 32 later on today. Darius Ostreka initiating into outside zone 1, putting that wheel along that yellow line, transitioning into 2, hanging on to it. Dialed in on the angle, good transition into 3 as well. Once more, hanging on to that angle, nice and smooth into outside zone 4, good line into 5 as well, picking up throttle early and across the finish line.
Darius doing a good job as well. 91.5 for Darius Ostreka. Great starting score for your first run as we come to the last driver of the first set of runs, Vladislav Yakulevic, heading off for the first run of qualifying, and then we go back up to the top to let him do it all over again. Initiating in, looking good for Vladislav off of that initiation, down into outer zone 2 now. Looking nice and solid through outer zone 2. Makes transition into outer zone 3, holding it nicely against that wall. Makes the transition down now to outer zone 4. Could have been a bit deeper into outer zone 4, but a beautiful transition into outer zone 5. Very nice job from Vladislav.
Yeah, good start to his qualifying. Let's see what does end up on the board. 92.7, so nicely done. And we're back around to Deshaun Reeves for run number 2, leaving the gate. Good initiation and putting that wheel along that track edge, transitioning across an outside zone 2 and stays inside of it. Nicely done for outside zone 3 as well. Small, teeny, tiny little bobbles in that angle through that big wall ride. Maybe dropping a little bit of tire in outside zone 4, but plants it along the wall for 5 and finishes his second run.
Well, coming off a 0, it was all or nothing for Deshaun Reeves, and he ends up coming home with an 84.5. So we hope that that's enough for him to maybe even see the last 16 battles later today. Is now at the line, Artem Cholkov, sitting on that 90.2, wanting to improve. Can Artem get it done? Initiates into outer zone 1, looking great through outer zone 1, filling all of it the whole way through. Makes the transition down to outer zone 2. No wavering, filling all of outer zone 2, but a little bobble there coming into outer zone 3, but gets it sorted and planted along the wall for outer zone 3. Transitions now to outer zone 4. Beautifully done. Final transition into outer zone 5. Takes it home.
Yeah, will it be enough to better the 90.2 on the board? No, it's going to fall shy 84.5. That top 44 cutoff now an 84.7. That's what is needed. Stanislav currently on his 93.7. Initiating in, filling outside zone 1. Snappy transition across. Dialed in on his angle there for outside zone 2. Outside zone 3 as well as he works his way through. Hanging that wing over the wall. Good transition, filling outside zone 4. Ooh, and using all of that rumble and getting a piece of the wall before crossing that finish line.
Yeah, wall tap right at the end is going to hurt that score. It was looking like a beautiful run, but it ends up with an 84.7 for run number 2. On to Ethan Pikachu, sitting on an 88.5. Let's see what he can do for run number 2 here as we're coming to the end of qualifying. Not many drivers left to go. Initiating in through outer zone 1, looking nice and clean through outer zone 1. Makes the transition to outer zone 2. Keeps it right along that track edge as he makes the transition down to 3. Maybe getting to the wall just a bit there. You saw that quick correction. but keeps it steady and holds it together through outer zone 4. Now down into 5, goes off the wall again and into the wall again before the finish line. And I think that's going to be a 0 for Ethan Pikachu's second run.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately going to end his qualifying there. But 88.5, he's still in that top 44. So it looks like we'll see him in the the last 16 following qualifying. Again, here on the same stream, Kevin Stump at the line ready to go for his second run. He is the current top 44 cut-off score, 84.7, filling outside zone 1, transitioning into outside zone 2, but he goes wide for it, dropping 2 tires off the back of that zone. Now into outside zone 3, trying to hang on to it. Filling outside zone 4 and now into this last and final zone. Giving the wall a tap before crossing that finish line.
Yeah, and sadly for Kevin Stump there, not enough in it. So a 76.5 for run number 2. So he'll keep his score of that 84.7. Sitting on a 91.7, Brett Wolford in his Mustang at the line, ready to go for run number 2. Lights go on, off he goes, initiating in. Could have been deeper into outer zone 1 and throughout all of outer zone 1 as makes the transition down into outer zone 2. Throws lots of angle at it, maybe drops a little bit of tire through outer zone 2. Now into outer zone 3, slowly works that Mustang out towards that track edge and that wall before transitioning through 4. Lots of angle being thrown for the transition. It makes it work through outer zone 5. Can that improve his 91.7?
Yeah, carried a lot of momentum through it as well, but falls just a little bit short with a 91 flat. So he'll hang on to that 91.7, but it looks like he's locked into that top 32 as he's above that top 28. Cutoff score is a 90.5. Kazuki off for his second run, needs to better that 76 that he currently has. Works his way through outside zone 1, now into 2. Small waiver in that angle before heading into outside zone 3. Now placing that bumper along the wall. A transition across for 4. And picking up throttle just on time to fill outside zone 5. Kazuki Fukushi across that finish line.
Kazuki coming out swinging. You can hear the angry Toyota wanting to improve that score, and improving it he does all the way up to a 90. So that'll definitely help him out for when we decide where the last 16 cutoff is. Sitting on a 93.7, Daniel Andrzejewski going out for run number 2. Maybe looking at topping Vitali here, initiating in through outer zone 1, looking good, filling all of outer zone 1, dropping down now to outer zone 2. Lots of angle and holding it beautifully through outer zone 2, throwing it at the wall for outer zone 3. Trying to keep it right along that wall the whole way through, throwing lots of angle at outer zone 4. Outer zone 5 slows it down just a little too much. That might be everything for that run.
Yeah, just a tiny little bit too much angle before picking up throttle in that last and final outside zone. Has to make a correction, and the score definitely shows 81.5, but a 93.7 on the board is a strong score, and we'll see him in that top 32 later today. Lazam at the line with his 90.5, the current top 28 cutoff score. We might want to better it for a tiebreaker if needed. He initiates in, picking up throttle but lacking some angle, drops some tire in the back of outside zone 1. Now working his way through outside zone 2, transitioning across for outside zone 3. And sticking it along that wall. Good for outside zone 4 as well. And too much brakes into outside zone 5. Totally missing it before crossing the finish line.
Yeah, run just full of mistakes there for Lazamazao. Wavering like crazy through outer zone 2. And just, it wasn't coming together for him in run number 2 here, and ends up with a 57.3 for his second run. 3 drivers to go. On a 91.7 sits Alexander Jaeger, and at the line ready to go. The lights go on. Here we go for run number 2. Initiating in. Looking good off the initiation, filling all of outer zone 1 as he transitions into outer zone 2. Does look like he maybe drops the tire, though, through outer zone 2 as he makes the transition now into outer zone 3. Gets the rear bumper of that BMW on the wall. Throws it again for outer zone 4. Makes the transition happen for outer zone 5. Looking like a pretty solid run there for Alexander Jaeger.
Yeah, it sure was. Trying to better than 91.7. Will it be enough? Ooh, and falling short, 86.3 on the board, so he'll stick with his 91.7. Couple of 91.7, so sitting in 21st is Alexander Jaeger. Here's Darius Ostrega with his 91.5. In that group of 91.5s is Brandon Gardner and Al Shetwi initiating in for outside zone 1, putting that wheel along the yellow line. Outside zone 2 as well. As he works his way across that track now. Good transition into outside zone 3, placing that bumper along the wall. And 4 as well. Did not drop a tire. Using that rumble, picking up throttle. And look at there, finishing the run strong. Darius Ostrega.
Darius coming out swinging for run number 2. He's like, I'm going to take that 91.5 and I'm going to do better. And he'd do better indeed. 93.7 as we now come to our final driver of qualifying. Vladislav Yakulovic to finish things out here for qualifying round 3 of the Virtual Drift Championships. The lights go on. 92.7 was run number 1. What does he have for run number 2? Initiates in, looking good through outer zone 1. He transitions through outer zone 2, looking good through outer zone 2. Throws it at the wall for outer zone 3. Gets his bumper right up on that wall. Holding beautiful angle as he exits 3 through outer zone 4. Fills all of it now where it matters. Outer zone 5, maybe slowed down the car just a tad too much. But solid final run for Vladislav Yakulovic.
Yeah, it sure was. Will it be enough? No, it does fall short with a 91, but could be a good tiebreaker if needed. So again, that's going to do it for round 4's traditional qualifying. Again, we've got last 16 qualifying battles coming up just after this. We'll take a look at those top qualifying scores, and Vitali hangs on after his 97.2 in Group 1 of qualifying. He will take that number 1 position. Tikhon Pileski in that second position with his 96.7, and Austin Zalewski with his 96.3 in that third position. So we'll double check these scores and those tiebreakers and build our bracket. Again, the top 28 get locked into the top 32, and then those 29 through 44 get put into the last 16 qualifying battles. We'll take just a short break here, hear from our wonderful sponsors, Sim Magic, Grip Royal, Joko Design, and Ali Yusuf. Big thanks to them. Again, we'll take a quick break, shut the server down, bring the server back for our last qualifying battles, and we'll see you soon.
Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark. New days are born. New days are born. New days are born. New days are born. The sun is dark, 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 dark. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? It's undefined, want to know where you are. Why keep you hiding where the sun is dark? The sun is dark. The sun is dark.
All right, and we are back with the last 16 qualifying battles. If you just missed qualifying, we'll bring up those top qualifying scores once more. Vitaly staying on top, and Tikhon Pileski landing in second, and Austin Zalewski in third. But from 29 through 44, we placed those drivers into this last 16 qualifying battles, which we'll take a look at here. Lazam Masao and Hiro Manoa up first, Cameron Mustard and Riley Sobush, Kazuki Fukushi and Russell Jones, and Erikas Yerkas and Danielis Parangauskas to start us off for these last 16 qualifying battles. And what these drivers are doing are battling it out for those last 4 positions in the top 32, those 29 through 32nd positions. They'll battle their way through this last 16 and will stop after the last 8. So once we have those 4 final drivers, we'll slot them in to that top 32. So we're getting the final call from those judges for this first group to get their last and final little practice runs in conditions have changed, so we're a little bit later in the day for this local track time, and temperatures have fallen just a little bit for this last 16 qualifying battles. What do you think, Tanner?
Well, I think we're in for some entertaining battles, that's for sure. I think they need to really watch themselves going into Outer Zone 5. I think that's going to be the main one of the day, but any one of these guys are capable of making it through. I mean, even when we started doing this, you know, it's anyone's games, and 80% of the time we see the guys who were 44th and 41st make it through over the guys who would have been in 29, you know, 30, 31, 32. So it's always a great way to make this happen, and I'm excited to get it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe those drivers can get their lights on as well. We are ready for the last 16. Lazama Sound to lead Hiroa Manoa here in the first battle of the last 16.
Well, one of them found the memo. They got the lights on. There we go. Lazama Zhao now in that lead lane. Hiroa Manoa ready to chase him down for the first of the last 16 battles. The lights go on. Off we go down the straight. Heading towards that initiation. Zam throws it in. Hiroa right there with them. Really pushes to get that door early as they leave Outer Zone 1 down into Outer Zone 2. Hiroa going off just a little bit. Not able to regain that proximity that he lost. He goes into the wall in that chase position. It doesn't upset him too much though. Lazam really leading this though and putting it there as a big dive from Hiroa in that rear to try and get him through Outer Zone 4. Doesn't work out, makes contact, and a good job from Lazam to keep it steady and not go into that wall after that contact.
Yeah, let's take a second look at it here on the replay. First replay of the day. Lazam initiating in and filling outside zone 1 nicely. We see Hiroa screw up a little bit of angle on that. I think that kind of leads to him hanging on to the line a little bit too long. It puts him on the back burner back there in that chase position, but he starts to reel in Lazam here off the back of 3, and here we go heading in to 5, and it does look like Lazam angles up and holds quite a bit of angle out there in front of Hiroa, but we'll leave it up to those judges. It could go either way there with that situation, I think.
It definitely could. That was something I noticed, but we're back around, ready to go for the second half of this battle. Hiroa Manoa will now lead in that GT86. Lazam and that A90 Supra will chase him down. Only one gets to advance on. The lights go on and off we go. Good start out of the gate. Hiroa kind of struggling for grip there though as he initiates in, almost not getting into Outer Zone 1 off the initiation. Lazam trying his best to keep that Supra right there in touch. They come through Outer Zone 2. They make the transition down towards Outer Zone 3. Little bobble there from the chase as Lazam tries to find his right opportunity to get up on the door of Hiroa as they come in that final Outer Zone. Hiroa slows that car right down, struggling to find the angle and the grip. They cross the line and finish out this battle.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Again, Hiroa now out front leading Lazam through the course. And as you said, yeah, just burning them down the straight. Kind of leads to an awkward initiation from Hiroa. Struggling to settle in on that angle, but he gets it done in outside zone 2. Heading into 3 now as well. Pulling away from Lazam. Lazam reeling him back in. A little correction in Hiroa's angle in 3. And here we go into outside zone 5. Yeah, they go across the finish line. So a tough one to call starting things out. Lazam is on the left. Hiroa is on the right. Winner moves on into that last 8, one step closer to the top 32, and they are going to go left for Lazam. Lazam gets the win over Hiroa, but a strong fight from Hiroa. Good job from both of those drivers.
Good job indeed. Lazam moves on to the next part of battles, one step closer to getting into the main competition. Our next battle at the line, Cameron Mustard in the lead lane in that R32, being chased down by Riley Sobush. Small pause here is a technical question asked, but obviously rejected as lights go on and off they go. Initiating in, Cameron Mustard out front. Riley Spruce chasing him down. Doing a good job. Riley a little bit on the back foot here in that chase position, but now through outer zone 2 manages to regain that proximity, but loses it on the transition to outer zone 3. He manages to regain it once again on the exit. Cameron out front just having fun in that R32. Riley a little bit on the back foot, but able to catch up just near the end there as they cross the finish line.
Yeah, another good start to Elastic's team battle. Cameron Mustard leading Riley Sobush here on the replay. Light goes on in there through the gate clean, but you can see there Cameron off to a good start, initiating in and kind of leaving Riley behind in outside zone 1, heading into outside zone 2 now. Cameron locked into that lead position. Riley reeling him in, but then has to back off. Starts to reel him in some more here into outside zone 3. They transition across for 4, fill it all the way. Both of them, good job and nicely done for outside zone 5 as well. There they go across the finish line.
Oh, they're back around at the start line now, ready for the second half of this battle. Only one advances on to go see Lazam in the next set of battles. Will it be Cameron Mustard? Will it be Riley Sobush? They wait for those lights to go on. Riley now leads. Cameron now chases. The lights are on and off they go down the straight. Riley initiates in. Cameron right there with them as they come through outer zone 1. Cameron putting on the pressure through it as they make the transition into outer zone 2. Losing a little bit of ground was Cameron, but quickly regains it. Transitions along the bumper into outer zone 3 along that wall. Riley is keeping it there and leaving enough room there for the transition is Cameron as they come through outer zone 4 now into outer zone 5. Cameron sticking right with Riley that whole way around.
Yeah, I think a pretty even little battle here. Let's take another look. Riley out front, Cameron Mustard giving chase. Riley going for the big initiation, filling outside zone 1. Tons of angle out front as well, leaving Cameron Mustard a little bit behind, heading into outside zone 2, riding that track edge once more. But Cameron right there on the bumper for that transition into outside zone 3. Sort of staying with him, could have been a little bit closer here, getting a little bit left behind in outside zone 4, but on the bumper once more in outside zone 5. There they go across that finish line, and we go to our judges. Cameron on the left, Riley on the right. Winner moving one step closer to that top 32. Right, so it looks like a split call. Chris going with it one more time. Ed moving left. Carl moving left for Cameron Mustard. Cameron Mustard getting the win. And again, one step closer to that top 32.
One step closer indeed, and he'll go on to see Lazam in the next set of battles, but we still have a few more slots to fill out here. Suzuki Fukushi in the lead lane in that beautiful Toyota GR Corolla, up against Russell Jones in the A90 Supra. Lights go on, off they go. This battle's underway. Fukushi out front, initiates in. Right alongside him, though, is Russell Jones, trying his best to keep on the door of Fukushi off the initiation through outer zone 1 and 2. They come into the wall ride through outer zone 3. Russell Jones on the back foot here just a little bit, but regains that proximity through the end of outer zone 3. And he hits the back of Fukushi and sends Fukushi into that wall. That'll be an interesting one to see what the judges say, or maybe in the replay we'll be able to see exactly what happened there.
Yeah, I think that Russell got a piece of his bumper through the transition into outside zone 4. We'll take a closer look at it here. Again, Kazuki out front leading. Russell Jones initiating in. Could have been a little bit deeper there for outside zone 1. Russell staying with him, reeling him back in for outside zone 2. Leaving some space for that transition into outside zone 3, but quickly reeling him in after that transition. And right there, little bumper to bumper. I'm not sure if that's what led to him over-rotating, though. Being stuck on that angle. There they go across that finish line. But we do have a second half of the battle.
We do. Another half of the battle to maybe decide, well, who moves on? Who takes the next open spot in the next set of battles? Will it be Russell Jones? Will it be Kazuki Fukushi? Russell Jones now leads. Kazuki will be chasing him down. The lights go on, and off they go for the second half of this battle. Down the straight, initiating in is Russell Jones. Kazuki trying to match him. Falls back just a bit from outer zone 1. Tries to regain that proximity as they come through outer zone 2 now. Russell Jones throwing a lot of angle to set up for outer zone 3. Fukushi backs off a bit and just kind of hangs out that back there, bobbling a little bit in that chase position. They come through outer zone 4. Now they dive into outer zone 5. Russell Jones out front. Kazuki Fukushi. Only one can advance.
Yeah, let's take a second look at the second half of this battle. Russell Jones out front leading Kazuki. This time without the contact. Nicely done for outside zone 1 from Russell. Tons of angle before transitioning across for outside zone 2. Could have been a little bit deeper there, but he's smooth out front here in his lead position. Filling outside zone 3 and leaving Kazuki behind. Kazuki trying to close that gap here through the Manji section of the course, and then nicely done from Russell once more before crossing that finish line. We go to our judges here in the last 16. Kazuki on the left, Russell on the right. And there we go, Kazuki getting the win. All three judges moving left. They look back at that contact there in that transition heading into outside zone 4. They're going to put fault on Russell Jones from really kind of hooking him up a little bit there and setting him up for failure. Unfortunately, there we do have that contact. Judges got to make a call, and it's going to go to Kazuki.
So Kazuki Fukushi filling in one of the remaining spots for the next set of battles. So now we get to decide who will be up against Kazuki Fukushi. Will it be Erikas Yurkis or will it be Danielis Parangaukis? The lights go on and this battle's quickly underway. Erikas in the lead, Danielis chasing him down. They initiate in through outer zone 1. And Erikas with a beautiful angle and line through outer zone 1. Danielis trying to get up on the door as they transition into outer zone 3. Danielis getting right up in his personal space now through outer zone 3, making that transition, leaving the room there as they come into outer zone 5. These two go at it, wheel to wheel and door to door, almost all the way through.
Yeah, good little start to the teammate battle between these two. Erikas out front in that lead position, leading teammate Danielis Parangaukis through the replay. Great initiation from Erikas out front. Tons of angle through outside zone 1. Nicely done on that transition into outside zone 2 as well. Almost getting a piece of the bumper is Danielis in that chase position. Small little correction in angle and kind of driving out of the zone a little bit is Erikas out front, but he does fill 4. Hangs a wheel off the back of that rumble strip heading into 5, and there they go across that finish line.
Well, teammates indeed, but only one can advance on to see Kazuki Fukushi. Danielis Parangaukis now in that lead lane. Erikas Yurkis ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating it is Danielis, but look at Erikas right there with them off that initiation through outer zone 1, just leaving the room for the transition, maybe touching that bumper into outer zone 2. They come down into outer zone 3 now. Danielis doing a good job out front, but Erikas putting on the pressure as they leave outer zone 3. They make the transition into outer zone 4. And look at this. This is great stuff here. What a battle between these two on the door through the finish.
Yeah, let's take a second look at it here. Danielis now out front leading Erikas through this course in the second half of their battle. Good start, good snappy initiation from Danielis out front all the way out there to that track edge, but Erikas right on the bumper through that first transition. Second one as well, heading into outside zone 3 now, locked into the angle as both of them. Nicely done from Erikas, staying in the pocket, staying along the bumper through these transitions, falls back just a little bit, but makes a good dive before crossing that finish line. And we go to our judges once more here in the last 16. Erica's on the left, Daniela's on the right. Or could we have our first one more time between these teammates?
Always a possibility, and one I wouldn't be mad at, 'cause these two were putting on a little bit of a show.
I think Erica's might have had the better chase, but then Daniela's coming away with the better lead.
I mean, if anything, the judges are looking at the chase to chase. As we saw Daniela's, he kind of got a little out of shape, bounced off the wall, but then Erica's, he was right there. Like, it's anyone's battle.
And it is, because it is going to be a one more time unanimous decision from all three of those judges. They're going to line them back up and send them again.
Oh, let's do this one again. I'm excited. This is what we look for in the last 16. This is just a highlight of how battles are going to be later on today.
Yeah, I mean, last round we had a ton of one more times, even in the last 16 qualifying battles. Could be another one of those days.
Definitely could be. I am always down for more drifting action, especially with drivers at this caliber. So let's see what happens in the one more time battle. Who will go see Kazuki Fukushi in the next set of battles? Erikas Yurkis in the lead lane, chasing him down, his teammate, but also wanting to win, Danielis Parangaukis. Lights go on and off they go for the one more time battle. Initiating in is Erikas, leaving behind his teammate a little bit at the exit of outer zone 1. He leaves that room for the transition, gets up near the door in that proximity range through outer zone 2, scraping the bumper and giving him a little tap on the door through outer zone 3 is Danielis in that chase position. They come through outer zone 4. Erikas could have filled out outer zone 4 a little bit more in that lead, but look at that. They still finish out side by side.
Wow. Maybe making it a little tougher for these judges. Let's take another look. Erikas out front here in the first half the one more time. Danielis chasing him down, maybe getting a little bit of the bumper there before initiating in, but filling outside zone 1 nicely. Erikas getting into outside zone 2, maybe just a tad late, but he sticks the angle and line in outside zone 2 into 3, getting that little tap from the teammate in that chase position. Good transition across for 4. Could have been a little bit deeper there, but much better in the outside zone 5. But Danielis right there with him as they cross that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start line for the second half of their one more time battle. Danielis will now lead things out as Erikas will chase him down. The lights go on and the second half of this battle's underway. Initiating in, looking good off the initiation. Erikas leaving just a perfect amount of room for that transition into outer zone 2. Erikas flies up onto the door and says, hello, I'm here in outer zone 2. Leaves no room for that transition, but gets away with it as they come through outer zone 3, wheel to wheel, again along the bumper. Erikas is all over Danielis out in that front, but maybe a tap into the wall for one of the drivers there. That was crazy. Those transitions were perfect.
Absolutely. Let's take another look here. Danielis out front. Erikas giving chase to the teammate initiating in, nicely done out front, all the way out there to that track edge. Good transition across the field outside zone 2, and there's Ericas in that chase position right along the bumper through that transition into outside zone 3, stays with his teammate out front there all the way through outside zone 3. Filling 4 is Danielis, much better out front, and Ericas getting a little caught up there, and then both make a correction in the outside zone 5. What a battle, and we go to our judges once more between these two. Ericas on the left, Danielis on the right. Do we have a winner? It looks like we do. Judges, all 3 of them going right for Danielis Parangauskas. Danielis getting the win over teammate Ericas Yerkas. Holy smokes. Again, what a battle between those two.
What a battle indeed for both of them. Their original battle and the one more time. And now Danielis Parangauskas will go see Kazuki Fukushi in the last 8.
Yeah, hearing from those judges now is that mistake heading into the last and final outside zone for Ericas Yerkas. So that's going to do it for the left-hand side of our bracket. So Lazam moves on. He'll face Cameron Mustard later on in that last 8. Kazuki Fukushi also gets the win, and Danielis Parangauskas moving forward, and he'll have to face Kazuki Fukushi. But up next, Artem Chokov and Daniel Mora, Ethan Pikachu and Reese Tatterson, Linus Torfus and Braden Swan, Martinez Ostreka and Oliver Eppinger. Right-hand side of the bracket. So they'll load in, get some practice runs in, and we'll send them off for their last 16 qualifying battles. Again, 29, 36, 32, and 40 moving forward here in this bracket. One more to connect. We'll let him get a couple of runs in. Mr. Daniel Mora. Judges calling that next battle to the line. Artem Chokov, Daniel Mora.
So here we go. The next battle of our last 16. Artem Chokov now in the lead lane. Daniel Mora ready to chase him down in that E30 BMW. The lights are already on and off they go to get this battle underway. Down the straight, initiating in is Artem, but look at Daniel right there with him through that initiation through outer zone 1. Almost not leaving enough room for the transition, so he's going to fall back a bit, but he quickly regains that proximity and gets on the door through outer zone 2. Not quite getting into outer zone 3 in that chase. Almost got a pushing Artem there at the end of outer zone 3. They get through outer zone 4, but not leaving enough room for that transition was Daniel Mora, but it didn't affect Artem too bad as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, let's take a look back at the replay again. Artem leading Daniel Mora through the course here. And Artem, I think, doing a good job out front, initiating in. He is using a little bit of left foot brake there in outside zone 1, but Daniel scrubbing some angle there in that chase position there, heading for that transition, even giving him a little tap before transitioning into outside zone 3. There we see him scrubbing some more angle in that chase position and some contact there before fully completing that transition into outside zone 5.
Now back around at the start line, ready for the second half of their battle. Daniel Mora will now lead. Artem Cholkov will chase him down. Who's the first one to advance on to this side of the bracket's last 8? The lights go on and off they go. Daniel Mora initiating in. Artem Cholkov right there with him as they come through outer zone 1. Leaves the room for the transition, so he's not going to lose any of that proximity through outer zone 2. Now they come down into the wall ride of outer zone 3 and already looking better for the chase of Artem Cholkov. Daniel Mora doing a good job in the lead here as they come through outer zone 4 and down into 5. But look at Artem all over Daniel Mora through that run.
Yeah, nice and smooth throughout. We'll take a second look here on the replay. Second half of their last 16 battle. Daniel Mora out front. Beat him Artem Cholkov. Good initiation from Daniel. Huge angle into outside zone 1, carrying it all the way into outside zone 2 as well before making that transition. But Artem doing a good job to back that car up in that chase position to get around in 4. That transition into 3, into 4 as well, leaving some space once more into 5. But nicely done from Daniel out front. A solid lead from him. We'll go to our judges here. Artem on the left, Daniel Mora on the right. And judges are sliding. They're sliding left for Artem Cholkov. Chris and Ed go left for Artem. Carl chooses one more time. Artem gets the win and moves one step closer to the top 32.
Good job indeed there from Artem in securing that win. All came down to that chase, and what a wonderful pace it was from him. Next up at the line, Ethan Pikachu in the lead lane in that Nissan Z, up against Reese Tatterson in that Heinz RTR Mustang. The lights go on and off they go. Initiating in for Ethan, but whoa, Reese right there. Try almost blocking the initiation from Ethan Pikachu, but keeping on the door as they come through outer zone 2, down into outer zone 3. Look at that. Reese all over the door of Ethan through outer zone 3. They come through outer zone 4 now, still side by side, almost not leaving enough room for that transition. Maybe touching each other, but really close as they come through outer zone 5 and finish out the run.
Yeah, I think we might have seen a little bit of tire drop into outside zone 4 from Ethan. We'll take a second look here. Yeah, and almost getting into the bumper of Ethan out front, but Ethan landing that fantastic initiation, filling outside zone 2 now with Reese right there along the bumper, heading into outside zone 3, staying with him through this zone as well. Here they go, leaving 4, and yeah, we see a little bit of dirt there from Ethan, and then makes it somehow work in outside zone 5, and there they go across the finish line.
Just waiting for them to get back around as they just got flipped around to the line. Reese Tatterson will now slot into that lead lane. Who's ready to chase him down for the second half of this battle to see who will go up against Artem Cholkov in the last 8. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in, out front Reese on the chase. Ethan side by side through outer zone 1. They'd make the transition down to outer zone 2, losing a little bit of ground as Ethan in that chase. He's leaving that room for that transition, but goes into the wall just a little bit in that chase run as Reese keeps it nice and steady along outer zone 3, transitioning along the bumper as Ethan coming back for an attack, but gets a little hung up there just at the end.
Yeah, we might have even had some contact there in the last and final outside zone. Let's take another look. Reese Tatterson out front in that RTR Mustang from Team Heinz. Ethan Pikachu giving chase and going after it here in outside zone 1. He makes it work. but here he drops back a little bit and then doesn't quite make up the ground heading into outside zone 3 now. Good transition from Reese. He hangs on to that angle, no real corrections as we see a correction from Ethan in that chase position. Nicely done from Ethan there through that transition, and then ooh, it's really close. Did Reese drop too much speed heading into that last and final outside zone? Or did Ethan come in a little hot? We'll leave it up to the judges. Ethan on the left, Reese on the right. Winner again moves one step closer to that top 32. And here we go. Reese getting the win over Ethan Pikachu. All three of those judges moving right from Reese, but a fantastic battle between those two.
Yeah, an absolute fantastic battle as Reese Tatterson now moves on to see Artem Chalkov in the last 8 as we move over to our next battle. Linus Tornquist in the lead lane in that Toyota Supra up against Braden Swan in that 370Z in the chase lane. Lights go on, off we go. 2 more spots remaining for the last 8. In this battle will decide one of them. Linus initiates in. Braden right there with them through outer zone 1. They make the transition down into outer zone 2. Braden taking full advantage off of that transition to stick right to the door of Linus. They come through into outer zone 3 now. A bobble from the chase as they leave outer zone 3 along the bumper, that transition, and along the bumper again into outer zone 5. Another bobble though for that chase lane. But a good job from both drivers for this first half.
Yeah, good start to the battle here. Linus out front, Braden giving chase. Lights go on and they get through the gate clean. Out they go. Braden is staying with him through the run up, initiating in. Right along that bumper through that first transition. Linus out front doing a very good job. Locked into his line and angle, heading into outside zone 3 now. Good speed there, but can't shake Braden in that chase position. They transition into outside zone 4 now. Nicely done into outside zone 5 as well, picking up throttle early, and there they go across that finish line. Good clean start.
A clean start indeed. Let's see how the second half of this battle turns out. Braden Swan turns around, slots into that lead lane. Linus Tornquist now ready to chase him down to see who can take one of the 2 remaining spots for the last 8. The light goes on and off they go. Braden initiates in, but Linus right there with him off that initiation. Not quite matching the angle through outer zone 1, but sticks in that proximity window right along the door as they come through outer zone 2. Transitioning along the bumper into outer zone 3. He gets it up on the wall. Linus trying to push him forward, go a little faster here. They come through outer zone 4. Makes the dive into outer zone 5, but he makes contact with Braden, sending him into the wall. We'll have to look at the replay to see, did Braden brake too much, or was there just too much speed from Linus in that chase?
Yeah, for initial view there, it looks like Linus comes in hot with quite a bit less angle, but let's take another look. Braden using a ton of angle through this course. Look at there through outside zone 1 into 2 as well. See, locks in that big angle. Big transition into outside zone 3. Linus right there along that bumper and into the pocket. All the way through outside zone 3. There they go for 4 and a big transition. Yeah, just a little bit too much sauce, I think, heading into that last and final zone. But we'll go to our judges. Linus on the left, Braden on the right. And there they go, sliding right for Braden Swan. Braden getting the win over Linus Tornquist, and once more moving closer to the top 32.
Braden Swan advancing, and we come down to the last battle of the last 16 before we move into the last 8 and see who will take those final positions for the main event later today. Martinez Ostreka in the lead lane, being chased down by Oliver Eppinger in that Toyota Supra in the chase. The lights come on. The last battle of the last 16 is underway. Ostreka initiates in. Look at Oliver Eppinger there on that initiation, trying to stay as close as possible, leaving no room for the transition into outer zone 2. He falls back just a bit, tries to regain that proximity as they come into outer zone 3. Martinez out front doing a great job here along the wall ride through outer zone 3. They make the transition into outer zone 4 now. Bumper to bumper on those transitions again. A little tap there from Oliver in the rear, but they finish out side by side across that finish line.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Ostrika out front, leading Eppinger through the course here in the first half of their last 16 battle. Nice initiation from Ostrika out front, not quite leaving enough room for the transition as Oliver in that chase position, but they make it work. Bumper to bumper through that next one in the outside zone 3, and Eppinger staying along that door. Working their way through the course now into the last and final outside zone, picking up that throttle, getting a little bit of a tap there from that chase, and we'll flip them around for the second half.
And flip them around, indeed we will do. Oliver Eppinger now in that lead lane. Martinez Ostrika, gonna get that wrong today, so I'm gonna try not to again. In the chase lane, the lights go on and the second half of this battle is underway. Oliver Eppinger initiating in. Martinez trying to stick right with him off that initiation, having a good proximity through outer zone 1. They transition into outer zone 2. No loss for Martinez in that chase through outer zone 2. They come into outer zone 3. A little bit maybe into the wall. Went Oliver out front, but Martinez sticking right there with him as he makes a dive there, maybe touches the back of Oliver Eppinger's car from diving out of outer zone 4, putting him into the wall just a little bit, but we'll see it in the replay.
Yeah, I think you might be right, kind of slingshotting that Supra out front with a little bit of contact, but we'll take another look at it here on the replay. Again, Oliver out front, Martinez giving chase. Nicely done from Oliver out front in that Supra. Along that track edge there, Martinez right along the bumper, backs up just a little bit there heading into outside zone 3, but as you pointed out, maybe a little wall tap there out front, filling 4, could have been a little bit deeper, and yeah, that is really hard to tell there if there was some contact right along that center bumper of Oliver out front. But the judges will review. They can jump into the replays quickly in the game now without leaving the server and come right back. We'll let them take their time there. Martinez on the left, Oliver Eppinger on the right. Winner moves one step closer to the top 32. They're quick with it. Martinez gets the win over Oliver Eppinger and moves one step closer. A tough battle between those two. So that is gonna do it for the 16th section of the bracket. Artem Cholkov moving forward, and he'll face Reese Tannerson. Braden Swan will face Martinez Ostrika. But up next, Lizama Sal and Cameron Mustard, Kazuki Fukushi, and Danielis Parangauskas. All up next here in the last 8. So just taking a quick break here, getting some technicals sorted out before we load those next drivers into the server. Take your screenshots now of that bracket if you'd like. believe everyone is sorted, so I believe we'll bring our next drivers to the line. Lizam Asal and Cameron Mustard. Sam and Cameron ready to go at the line.
They are indeed. Lizam in that lead lane, Cameron in that R32. The winner of this moves on to the main event today as they initiate in, looking good off the initiation. Maybe Cameron holding up that initiation just a little bit as they come through outer zone 1, now into outer zone 2. Cameron's in a good proximity, slowly working his way to get up on the door of Lizam as they come through outer zone 3 now, transition into outer zone 4. Cameron really starting to try and get on that door, but Lizam's still keeping that 1 foot ahead this whole run.
Yeah, let's take another look back on the replay again. Lizam out front. Cameron Mustard giving chase. Lights are on there through the gate, nice and smooth, and Cameron's sticking with him through the run-up. We do see a little bit of lag from Lizam Asal out front, getting ahead of Cameron Mustard in outside zone 1, right along that track edge into outside zone 2. And here we see Cameron trying to reel him in, but maybe playing it safe with that little bit of lag we see from Lizam out front, filling outside zone 4. Good transition across, nice and smooth, filling outside zone 5, and there they go across that finish line.
Back around at the start, ready for the second half of their battle. Let's see who advances on at the end of this. Cameron Mustard in the lead lane now. Lizam Asal ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in. Cameron Mustard hucks it into outer zone 1, leaving Lizam behind off of that initiation. Lizam on the back foot, trying to play catch up here. Some lag happening there on my end from Lizam. He's all over the place. And then Cameron goes into the wall and shuts down that run.
My goodness. Hard
Yeah.
on the wall as well.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, looking at my own ping in the server, it doesn't quite look server side there, and it's tough to even know if that was, you know, Cameron's independent mistake out front. We'll take another look on the replay. Cameron looks smooth here into outside zone 1. We see a bunch of lag there from Lizam in that chase position. Still looking smooth out front as Cameron gets a little boot there, transitions across. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, that little booth there leaving outside zone 2 put Cameron just a little bit offline. Yeah, then we see even more contact heading into that last and final outside zone. So unfortunate to see Lizam get hit with the lag bug there. But we'll pull up the judges. Lizam on the left, Cameron on the right. Yeah, inverted that lag boop in between 2 and 3 definitely could have led Cameron to transitioning maybe a little bit late. And then it's hard to even tell, you know, what was really going on there behind camera. And we also don't, when you have some lag like that on someone else's screen, it could be a little bit different rather than what we're seeing on stream. So yeah, it's a tough one to call here. They are. We have all of the drivers here in Discord, but then we also provide them with a TeamSpeak with a like spotters towers and stuff like that, where they can go into different channels and stuff during their battles if need be, or just kind of hang out in the hangout of the TeamSpeak. use Discord so they can hear staff, hear their instructions. And here they go. Judges are going to slide right. Unanimous decision for Cameron Mustard. Cameron will get the win. And again, unfortunate lag there from Lazam all the way through the first and second half. Second half was just unfortunately worse, but Cameron Mustard will make his way on into the top 32.
Just thought I'd come and join to explain that one to stream a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
As that is a potentially contentious call. So the way we have the rules is that if someone is lagging to the point we consider it unjudgeable, we reserve the right to give that person an incomplete for that run. Now, on that occasion, it's an interesting one because Cameron makes an independent error at clip 3. In our opinion, that's independent. That is an incomplete on him. However, we had already given Lazam an incomplete for being unjudgeably laggy prior to that point. So that makes that second run a wash and nobody gets any points from it. So we went back and judged it off the first run, where for us, Cameron held a slight advantage and thus takes the win from that.
There you have it. From head judge Chris himself. Thank you for everything that you do, Chris.
I'm embarrassed now. I'm leaving.
No, no. And there he goes. He's gone.
Get out of here.
Right, get out of my channel. No. So again, Cameron Mustard finds himself into that top 32. Next up, Kazuki Fukushi and Danielis Parangauskas.
You got that right. So, Kazuki Fukushi in the GR Corolla in the lead lane being chased down by Danielis Parangauskas. After winning against his teammate, they initiate into Outer Zone 1. Fukushi almost missing out entirely on Outer Zone 1 off that initiation. Bobbling all the way through Outer Zone 2. Struggling a little bit in this lead is Kazuki, but Danielis doing the best he can to just stick with him and mimic him the best he can. They come through Outer Zone 4 into that final Outer Zone. They make it through Outer Zone 5 and finish out the first half of this run.
Yeah, let's take a look back on the replay. Kazuki out front, leading Danielis through this course. And here in the last 8. Kazuki initiating in, missing out on Zone 1, and then adding a ton of angle before transitioning into outside Zone 2, having some bobbles there in outside Zone 2 as well. Danielis maybe playing it safe there in that chase position. He reels him in slow for that outside Zone 3, falls back, and then we see a bunch of angle added before transitioning into outside Zone 5, and there they go across the finish line.
Well, back around at the start line, ready for the second half of this battle to see who will advance on and be part of the main show. Cameron Mustard already grabbed one spot. Who will grab the next? 3 remain. The lights go on and off they go. Danielis out front initiates in. Kazuki tries to match him through it, missing out on that outside Zone 1 yet again. But Danielis out front, tearing it up through Outer Zone 2 as they transition down to Outer Zone 3. A little tap into the wall goes Danielis, and a little unsettled gets the chase of Kazuki. They straighten themselves out though as they come through Outer Zone 4, now diving into Outer Zone 5. And it looks like Danielis takes off through it while Kazuki gets a little hung up on that transition.
Now let's go back to the replay here. Danielis out front, leading Kazuki through the second half of their battle. Danielis, good initiation, filling outside Zone 1 and getting away from Kazuki a little bit before Kazuki reels him in here in outside Zone 2. Tries to stay with him, falls back through that transition, and then tries to reel him in. I think both of them get into the wall there just a little bit. There they go, transitioning into outside Zone 4, now into the last and final outside zone, picking up throttle and across that finish line. So we go to our judges. Kazuki on the left and Danielis on the right. Winner moving into the top 32. And there it is. They go right. Unanimous decision for Danielis Parengaus getting the win over Kazuki Fukushi. And our number 40th qualifier moves into the top 32.
Yeah, that just shows why we continue to do this last 16. Two drivers who initially wouldn't have made it into the top 32 are now in from the last 16 battles. We move on to our next battle. Artem Cholkov in the lead lane in the BMW up against Reese Tatterson in that Team Heinze RTR Mustang in the chase lane. 2 spots remain for the main competition. This one battle will fill out one other and we'll see who wins it. The light goes on and off they go. Artem leading, Reese chasing him down. Artem initiates in, Reese right there with him as they come into outer zone 1. Good proximity as he leaves room for that transition into outer zone 2. Dives up to try and get right on the door of Artem. They transition into outer zone 3 now. Holding back a little bit was Reese at the beginning of outer zone 3, but then regains that proximity at the end, leaving no room for the transition into outer zone 4 or into the entrance to outer zone 5. A little tap there into Artem right at the very end.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay. First half of their battle here. Artem out front, Reese Tatterson giving chase through the chicane. It almost looks like it takes Artem a second to get going, but he initiates in, uses quite a bit of left foot brake through outside zone 1 and heading into outside zone 2. Reese holding back a little bit, as you pointed out, and then making the dive through that transition as they work their way through outside zone 3 into 4. A little bit of left foot brake there from Artem out front through that Manji section, and then nicely done across that finish line and through that last and final outside zone.
Back around at the start gate, the second half of the battle is ready to go. Reese Tatterson now in that lead lane. Artem Cholkov ready to chase him down. Only one advances on. The lights go on and off they go. Get out of the gate clean and down the straight and initiate in. Look at Artem right off the initiation, door to door through outer zone 1. He backs off with the transition into outer zone 2, but quickly regains that proximity. And oh, a blank spike on my end, but it looks like things are still continuing just fine as Reese Tatterson comes out of outer zone 3 with Artem Cholkov all over him. They transition now into outer zone 5. Artem bullying him through outer zone 5. That'll be an interesting one for the judges to call there.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to call that. We'll take another look here on the replay. Reese Tatterson out front, Artem Cholkov giving chase. Starts off with a banger here in outside zone 1. Tons of angle from Reese out front into outside zone 2 as well. Artem applying some pressure, and there we see the big leg. I kind of even wonder what happened on Artem's screen, because he ends up getting the transition done in that chase position anyway. And there we see some contact heading into the last and final outside zone, crossing the finish line, and we go to our judges on a very tough call here, again with some more lag, unfortunately, this time from Reese Tatterson. But Reese is on the right, Artem's on the left. Unfortunately, Bun, Tanner also experienced the exact same lag.
Yeah.
And it is, it's me running the stream.
Did you have it on your end?
Oh, yeah. Where,
Okay.
So for you, did he get sort of stuck on angle and then suddenly he was in outside zone?
I actually had both cars go completely off track, and then they just reappeared midway through outer zone 3. And I figured if they're still going, then it's okay. But I did get a bit of a ping spike, but I went up from 143 to 147. So like,
Yeah, and you all the way up in Canada.
yeah, in Canada land, you know. know we don't have our judges in here, but it makes me wonder if any of them experienced it all at the same time. Because if it was,
Well, I think we
unanimous
may
across
have
everybody.
a decision here because they are
Okay.
bringing the next battle to the line. And yeah, they're going to slide left for Artem Cholkov. Artem Cholkov is going to get the win over Reese Tatterson again. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be down to the lag there.
Yeah, it's always sad to see. It's no one wants to lose due to lag, but there's still many rounds left. We're only halfway through the season.
Yeah, and hearing the judges now over in Discord explain it to the drivers, they experienced the same and saw it pretty much the same as Stream did, maybe closer to what you saw.
Well,
Yeah, got to stick to the rule book, really. Yeah.
Yep. It's written for a reason. So here we are back for the final battle of the day. Well, for qualifying anyway, to see who takes that last spot into the top 32 later today. Braden Swan out front with Martinez Ostrega chasing him down. They came through outer zone 1 and 2 already. Martinez has been keeping a good proximity through those. Braden Swan doing a good job out front here, but Martinez starting to reel him in, starting to close that door. They transition into outer zone 4, make their way down towards outer zone 5. And Ostrega doing a good job at just keeping that proximity, but a good lead run there from Braden Swan.
Yeah, unfortunately, Seto doing some Seto things, so it was a silent battle on my end. I don't know if it was for you, but here we go with that battle. Graphics a little bit backwards there. Braden Swan is out front leading Ostrega through the course, and nicely done for outside zone 2. Braden working his way into outside zone 3 with Ostrega right on that bumper through that transition, staying with him through the zone as well on the bumper once more. And here they go, heading into the last and final outside zone with a little wall tap before crossing that finish line from Braden out front. Should I give us car noises?
You can do it. I have faith in you.
No, we ain't. No.
Yeah, one day we'll get it. So here we go. The final battle of the last 16. The last spot in the top 32 for competition later this afternoon. Martinez Ostrega out front, ready to go. Braden Swan ready to chase him down in that 370Z. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in Martinez, but look at Braden Swan right there with him off the initiation through outer zone 1. Now they transition along the bumper, a little contact from Braden Swan, not leaving enough room in that transition as they come through outer zone 2, side by side, door to door. They dive into outer zone 3 now. Martinez on a good lead line here. Braden taking all advantage of it through outer zone 4, maybe not leaving enough room on the transition again, giving a little tap there through outer zone 5 to Martinez, but they finish out the run side by side.
And silently, let's take another look at the replay. Ostrega leading Swan. They initiate in. Filling that outside zone all the way is Ostrega out front. Nice and smooth transition for outside zone 2, but can't shake Braden in that chase position as they head into outside zone 3 now. Could have been a little bit deeper from Ostrega. He works it out to that outside with maybe a little bit of door taps from Braden in that chase position, just leaving enough room. Maybe a little tap there before crossing that finish line. We go to our judges for the last time here in the last 16. Last and final slot in that top 32. As silent as it was still exciting. Try and get that fixed.
I forgot you didn't have the audio for these
right?
two.
Yeah, Seto doing a Seto things. It looks like we might have a decision here. Chris goes right for Ostrega. Ed goes right as well. Carl, it's a unanimous decision over Braden Swan. But what a last battle in the last 16 there. Ostrega moves on into the top 32. So we'll take a look at our completed bracket here. Cameron Mustard, after qualifying 36, He'll move into that top 32. Artem Chokov qualifying 30th. He'll also move into the top 32. Danielis Pirangauskas qualifying 40th. And Martinez Ostreka qualifying 34th. So only one of those drivers out of the 16 that qualified within the top 32 is moving on into the top 32, and that's going to be Artem Chokov. He'll take that 29th position, and then it'll be Martinez Ostreka taking that 30th position, Cameron Mustard taking the 31st, and Danielis Pirangauskas taking the 32nd position in the top 32. It's a wonderful way to start battles out. We take about an hour break before we come back with our top 32 main event here, round 4, Bahrain. Tanner, what do you think?
I think we're in for a real treat when it comes to battles, as it just takes one slip up. So I think this is anyone's game to win today, and it could shake up the championship big time depending on who wins it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if we do have that bracket generated, and we do. Look at there. That is your top 32 main event today. If you want to take a screenshot of it before we shut this stream down, take our break, go get something to eat, go get something to drink, and then come back with our main event. So Vitaly, after qualifying first, takes that number 1 position. He'll face Danielis Pirangauskas when we come back with our main event. Big shout out to our partners, Sim Magic, our official title sponsor of the series, Grip Roll, Joka Design, and Ali Yusuf for helping out with that bracket. Again, I hope you all enjoyed qualifying. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with the top 32 main event later today.
Chew with me. Not a little. Chew with me.